What? Bing bong. Oh, there I am. Welcome. It is I. It is me, John Feline. That's right, back again. um, hey Cosmic, my fellow Raymond Acripsionados. That's right. Maybe that's because for years now, I don't know what to call. I don't want to call you guys chat. That's a name XQC or someone would pick, and that's a depersonalized name. And I'm thinking, I don't know what to call my audience. I know I've had them for years, and I never know how to address you. Do I address you as chat? Do I address you as gamers? That's a pretty safe one, but like other people use that as well. It's not very personal. Do I address you as John Feline? But I can't do that because I'm John Feline, and we can't both be John Feline. But I like this one from Cosmic. This is probably the coolest contribution I've seen. Raymond Acripsionados. See, that works because I don't have to then change my name. I can still be Raymond Cripps, and you can be the Acripsionados. So that actually might be a good one. What is a group of cats? I don't know. I don't see cats in groups. I don't see cats in general. So I don't know. Bob Feline, maybe. Hey, maybe that one. Maybe that's the one. I don't know. Or maybe, as Rice suggests, chat is this real. I can just call you guys that. Not just chat, but chat is this real. So you've got like a first name and a middle name and a last name. Your name's Chat Real, and your middle names are is this. Chat is this real. That's going to be the name on all of your driver's licenses right now. So, etymologist says, what headphones are those? I don't know how to spell the name. These are, hold on, Beyerdynamic DT770 Pros 80 ohms. I don't know what an ohm is, but I like these because they have a pretty classic flat response, and I like that. I used to wear these different headphones that were like Bose headphones, and they were comfortable, but the cushions would peel a lot. And these kind of do as well, but they last longer. And the Bose ones I used to wear had like a heavy bass curve on them. And it was like a bit too much. And they were noise cancelling, which was cool, kind of, but unnecessary. So I sold those a few years ago and bought these. And these are bigger, more comfortable. They last a bit longer. I think this is actually what like actual audio people use too. So I thought, well, if it's good enough for Marty O'Donnell, it's good enough for me. And yeah, they sound pretty good. But yeah, Beyerdynamic, and I don't know, it's got some weird spelling. I don't know the spelling, but it's like Beyerdynamic DT77 Pro. I think they have different models for like different frequencies or whatever they're called. I don't know. I don't know what the ohms are measuring. I just picked the lowest one because I don't need 100 ohms or whatever. I don't even know what it does. So it's like, well, if I don't know what it does, I don't need a lot of them. 80 will do. And I think they have like open cup ones too, but I like the closed ones. I don't like letting in the outside world in here. Okay, I got to keep the inner voices inside to myself, and that's what these headphones are good for. Unfortunately, they're not as cool as Gabi's headphones, so that's the ones I want to wear, but I anatomically can't do it. And I want to make those real, but it wouldn't make any sense because humans can't wear Gabi's headphones. So I just have to kind of dream that one day when Elon Musk does engineer catgirls, I will be able to be the first to engineer and manufacture the first generation of catgirl headphones. But that's a while away still, unfortunately. $100 of Patreon money into headphone cat ears. Look, I have seen people do that, but I don't know. I don't think I should. I have better things to be spending money on. Like devlogs, for instance. So I've there's a few things like what you've probably seen the stream title, and it's a bit different this week. We've had some developments. A lot of it's been outside of the game, and I just have some stuff I want to talk about. Speaking of what should I call chat and the stuff, I want to talk a bit about community this week, and I want to talk about the internet and other things, and how that all goes into game development and stuff. So I haven't really... So part of the things I've been busy with... How many viewers do we got? Am I allowed to get into this yet? Okay, we still don't have enough viewers. So I'll chat with you, small talk, for a few more minutes until we get 50 viewers, and then I'll get into it. But I've just been busy with some admin stuff, and web internet related things. But yeah. Berg says, oh, peak. Well, I hope so. I will say these headphones are pretty peak. They are pretty comfy. I would recommend them. And I've had these for maybe 3 years now, and they're pretty good. The only annoying thing is because I wear them all the time, these cushions in here, they do get wear and they start splitting apart. But you can buy replacement cups, I think. I think they have, these ones are cloth, but I know you can get them with like leather or synthetic leather or something. So I don't know if those are any better, but the cloth seems to work mostly. All the audiophile stuff is better than gamer stuff. Real. Okay, that's unimaginably real. You know, like, to scroll up for a moment here, the reason why I wouldn't spend any Patreon money at all on Catgirl headphones, for real, is because most of that tier of product, that's like gamer stuff. That's like the gaming shares and whatever. Like, everyone wants to buy stuff like that. Everyone wants to buy the wireless Bluetooth gamer headset with the LEDs and stuff on it. The gamer chair. You know, they have gamer chairs with LEDs on them now? My cousin was showing me this, and he's like, dude, they added this new chair and it has LEDs on it. And it's just, I don't, like, no, you don't. You're not serious. You can't be a serious person with LEDs on your chair. Unless you're Tony Stark, okay? But you just want to be, if you want to get equipment, I guess I'll tell you my attitude on equipment. What I like to do is save money and buy good equipment so that I don't have to replace it every 2 years. That's the strategy I like. So this chair, for instance, I don't even know what make chair this is, but it's not a gamer chair. It's not got LEDs on it, so it's not interesting, sorry. But I've had it for like 11 years, and I've sat on it like daily for like 8 hours a day for like 11 years. And it's like, that's pretty good. And I haven't developed any weird back problems. I haven't become a 30-year-old in my mid-20s. So I'm like, well, hey, that's probably good. And I don't think a gamer chair with LEDs would do that. And, you know, and it's not fancy. I think I've got my shirt over it, but it's like it's just a black mesh chair. It's nothing fancy, but it's simple, and it's like, it's a bit squeaky because I've had it so long, but it works and it's comfortable and I like sitting in it. And I don't even think it costs that much more than one of these gamer chairs, but you get 11 years of use out of it, and probably I don't think I might not ever need to buy another chair. I mean, I hope I haven't jinxed it. But see, that's the stuff I like, that class of product. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't make stuff like that anymore, and it's annoying. So that's why, like, anything I pick out, I like buy stuff very rarely, because the stuff I try to pick out, like stuff like this microphone, this is the last thing I bought for like any equipment. And they've been making this make of microphones since like the 1970s. And it's like, all right, well, they've made it since the 70s, and they haven't changed the design in like 40 years. It's probably pretty solid. I probably will never need to buy another microphone in my whole life if I go with this. And at the moment, it's pretty good. It's way better. You guys remember the huge mic we used to have, and it would take up half the screen? So that was like a USB mic, and I didn't notice this for years, but it would have like a high-pitch whizzing that you can hear in some of my videos. And I couldn't hear it, because I guess my hearing is like not as great as it used to be, but I've seen some people comment like, what's this high-pitched noise? And I didn't realize it was because I was using a crappy USB mic plugged directly into the motherboard, which apparently is big no-no. You don't want to do that. So this is an XLR one, and it's a much, you don't hear that. And it's just, I don't know, it sounds less cheap. And I think audio, you don't want to cheap out on audio. I think you can cheap out on visuals, but you can't cheap out on audio. If I've noticed that if you give people content to watch, whether it's a movie or a live stream or whatever it is, if the video quality is bad but the audio is good, people don't mind. But if it's the other way around, if the video quality is 4K but it sounds like a PlayStation 2 SingStar microphone, then people will get pretty annoyed. So audio, you don't want to cheap out. That's why my plan is that when I'm 55, I'm still going to be using these headphones and this microphone. That's the plan. That's what I like. That's how we like it. I just don't have confidence a lot of these gamer things. Firstly, I don't think the build quality is going to last that long. And secondly, they're going to go out of style, because a Catgirl headphones, as cool as they might look like now, in 2050, are those still going to look swag? Are they still going to look, will they still have the drip, or will the drip have evaporated? That's the question. So that's why, even with Gabi's costume, I've actually reduced a lot of the design when I was doing the model. And that's why because I want to have less stuff on it that's going to age it. So it's still probably, it might age, I don't know, but it's, I've tried to like make it hold up a bit better. How many viewers we got now? Okay, we're getting close. All right, we'll get into it. Stagbag says, "Yo, Raymond, just wanted to say that I remember watching your early vids back when. Incredible seeing the progress all this time later. Hope you're well." Oh, thank you, Stagbag. I appreciate that. Yeah, so I have a lot to say this week. We'll get into it now. We'll get the small talk out of the way. Oh, but first I got to thank Snubbill for gifting 1 membership, 1 sub to Cox. How do I pronounce that? Codox Magnum. That's a cool name. Thanks so much, Snubbill, for the support. I appreciate all the gifted subs. I just got to turn up my... Hold on a sec. I got to turn up my volume. So thanks for all coming this week. I know I missed out last week. Where was I? You're probably wondering. Well, I was busy. Well, some of you have sent me these messages and reported that there has been a Turkish scammer going around trying to use Project Feline to get you to download malware. So we'll get into this first topic here. So some of you sent me this on Discord. Some of you emailed me about it. Thanks everyone for reporting that, by the way. And yeah, so there's this dude going around that's compromising. It's like, it's probably just one guy, but he's like hacked other people's Discord accounts. So they're using real Discord accounts, and you probably might even get messages from your friends on Discord or something. And they will send you this thing that's like, "Hey, so my friends and I made this game, and could you just spare 15 minutes to test it out for us? We just need feedback." And the game that they are sending you is my game, but with some crappy, like badly photoshopped watermark in the corner, and it's got some lame ass name that is just not, it's not good. Okay, the thing is, people, I don't know what it is, because like, look, Project Feline is not even out. It's a niche internet phenomenon. Okay, it's not a popular game, but miraculously some of you have recognized that this is a ripoff of my game, and you've told me about it, so thank you. The thing is, when they go to the trailer or something, it's usually like some unlisted video that's like ripped off my trailer. It has a link to download the free demo on the website, and the website is this awfully designed, like some Squarespace template crap. And then you scroll down and it's like, here's instructions how to download. And what's even silly, I would show you the webpage, but I was able to take some of these down, thankfully. There's only one website domain left that I haven't been able to crack. And that's because I have to like, it's like hosted on like, I don't know. There's been some guy helping me out that's told me like where to report this. But like my ISP has blocked the domain, so I can't actually see what's on the last page. So I've been trying to like contact the Turkish authorities, but my web browser doesn't load the report page. So I've been just a bit stuck there, but I'm working to try and resolve that. Anyway, so the page I did see though, it had like the instructions how to download, and then the thing you actually download is like this 30 megabyte thing, and you instantly know that this is not a genuine game, because if this was a genuine Unreal game, it would not be 30 megabytes. It'd be like 20 gigabytes or something. So like, just realistically, I'm like, I know something's off. But if you're a 13-year-old, you're probably not going to know. So anyway, so I checked it out, and yeah, it's malware. Okay, it's not a real thing. And usually I wouldn't be bothered by things like that, you know, like I've been ripped off before. I just kind of shrug it off.
To the cat girl propaganda campaign. Game looks sick, mate.
Oh, thank you so much. Sorry I missed the chat there. Thanks so much for the... Where does it show? It doesn't show me where that super chatted from. But thanks so much for the support. Oh, here it is. Wait, no, is it? Oh, here we go. $50. Thanks so much. My contribution to the Cat Girl campaign. Thanks so much, Kaya. Sorry, I was mid-rant and I didn't notice. Thanks so much, dude. Yeah, so we are going to get the Cat Girl propaganda campaign, okay? So here's what we're going to do. So the scammers, they got to go, man. So that's what I've been working towards. And I want to take a moment to thank everyone that's been kind of like sympathetic about it and saying that it's a shame it's being ripped off. I appreciate that. I'm personally not emotionally bothered by it. I'm just kind of annoyed because it just wastes my time and it wastes your time. And because actual scammers, man, like when you are working on something good, you kind of don't even feel angry at scammers. You feel sorry for them. And that's kind of how I feel about these people, because it's actually not that hard to make something that is, like, good. Like, even when they were ripping it off, it wasn't even good. Like, they got the font wrong, they got the colors all wrong, and it's like, man, they're missing out so much on life by not studying fonts and colors and, like, knowing how to mimic this properly. They would be so much more happy, and they would probably be a bit richer if they, like, studied design and made their own things. So I'm not really too bothered by that. But there are victims, of course. So people are getting their accounts stolen, so I have a responsibility to do something about it. But what it did do is that it inspired me to look at my own website for a moment and go, well, all these scam websites look pretty bad, but my website also looks pretty bad as well. And it inspired me to want to redesign mine. So I'll get my desktop open real quick. So I've been working just on this mock-up in Photoshop. And I know this seems a bit tangential to my level design stuff, but I've had to take a bit of a break from the level design at the moment, and I'll explain why in the next segment. I'll explain mine a bit. It's just been kind of exhausting, but I have been very energized. Like this, I don't know, the seeing these scam websites like gave me a feel in my heart or something. I don't know what it was, but it made me want to do up a new web design type thing. And there's been a lot of thoughts I've been having about websites and the sort lately, and I'll share some of those with you while I show off this design here. K1 says it looks like Sonic Riders. Thank you. That's a huge compliment. Sonic Riders does have a pretty cool aesthetic, if I do say. Bobby says, just wanted to hop on and say thank you for motivating and inspired me to work harder and stay in my UE4 projects for class. Oh, that's awesome, man. A world where everyone's moved on to UE5 and expect you to as well. It's nice. Well, thanks, man. You know, what you've just said and what I'm about to talk about, there's a Venn diagram of things that I want to kind of get into here on the stream about... So how do I want to attack this? What angle do I want to attack this from? So, all right. So when the last video I made, that's probably what you're referring to, right? About... everyone wanting to go to Unreal 5, and I was getting like made fun of for being on Unreal 4 and all that stuff. That video got a lot of attention for whatever reason. And something that really annoys me, because this is sort of the social media machine going on. And when I made that video, I didn't put really a lot of work into it. I don't think it's a very special opinion. I think it's just common sense of just, I want to use the old software because I'm familiar with it. But when I look online at game dev and stuff, everyone is obsessed with this topic. Like, everyone is always, they're all having their console wars about, Unity's better, Unreal's better. And it's just, in my view, that is a total waste of time. I don't know why everyone cares so much about what is the best engine. I don't care about it. I just like Unreal because I like Unreal, and I like the version 4 because that's just what I started on. It's not that complicated, it's simple. But everyone wants to spend all this time on Discord and on Reddit and in my YouTube comments. Because there's so many comments in that video, and it's like, I can't be bothered to read all these. And most of it is just the same thing of like, Unreal 5 is pretty bad. And it's like, yeah, I know. Okay, we all know this. We don't need to like spend all day chatting about it, okay? And this goes into a deeper thing I've noticed about being a game developer on the internet. And this is part of what's also got into me wanting me to do this little website mock-up here. So, all the stuff I've been learning lately, right? About level design, doing maps in old software, using old techniques, reading blogs from old Gen X millennial people on how they make 3D models. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of changed my life. I don't know how to really put it. This is going to sound kind of crazy, but I guess you could say I've become boomer pilled or something, where I just all of a sudden, I don't know, I see everything very differently now. And I've noticed something, because I think everyone has been noticing this from the big picture, where there's this sentiment that video games have sort of declined in the last 20 years. And I know this sounds like a massive tangent, but this is related, okay? Just bear with me. This is a Raymond Cripps original rant, okay? And this all ties together. It's all linked together. But there's this sentiment where the industry's sort of going down and indies are kind of saving it. That's the general sentiment I'm seeing. But indies fall into a lot of traps, and I know this because I've been through them myself, and I've been through you know how in Lord of the Rings and the Two Towers, and they've got Frodo and Sam going through the wasteland with Gollum, and they look into the pools and there's like dead bodies in them, and Frodo almost falls into one. That's kind of like what it's like to be an indie game developer now, where you've got abundant communities online, abundant resources. Think of all of those as the pools, and it's really easy to fall into the wrong one. And it's just something I just took for granted when I was starting. When I started like doing game dev, it was actually a bit different, because when I started making games, I was about 12 years old, and this was before things like Discord didn't exist. Reddit was still very niche. YouTube had just been bought by Google. Like, this was kind of before the internet was as big. And I noticed that a lot of the time when I spent learning my engines, on learning programming, on whatever, I did it alone. And I've noticed that isn't normal anymore. And I don't know, maybe you guys can relate. I don't know, you guys tell me if I'm too out of pocket with this or something. But my experience growing up learning game development was I was on the family computer, and I would maybe have like a YouTube tutorial up on like one window, and then I'd have Unity open, and I would kind of spend all day just like trying to do bits of the tutorial, and then if I felt like going off course, I would just go do something else and figure it out. But I wasn't in Discord servers or anything. I wasn't in like forums. I wasn't participating in those. I was just kind of in my own little bubble, just playing with the software and figuring things out. And I've just noticed that attitude has survived in me still, and I still do things that way. And it's actually, I really like doing things that way. And if I hadn't done things that way, Project Feline would not exist. You guys would not know about it. I would not have this YouTube channel if that's not how I did things. But I've noticed that people, because I have a younger cousin that's starting to get into this stuff. He's not as susceptible to this as I've noticed some other people are. But when I was teaching, I had a lot of students that were like this too, where they were almost like too afraid to sit by themselves and just play with stuff. And they would constantly need to be on Reddit or on Discord or something, asking for everyone else's approval, or like deferring to the authority of the community to do anything. So when you we can look at this right now. I know that this might sound crazy, but we'll look at this phenomenon in action right now, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Because this didn't used to exist when I started trying to learn game development, and I realized that was probably a while ago now compared to people starting today. But if you search game dev on YouTube, it's going to be like top 10 tips, programming sucks, pirate software, and it's all going to be just like, this is junk. None of this is actually helpful. And I can tell you, because I have been able to get through my own stuff without needing to watch any of these. Top 25 tricks, top 20 things. I made Minecraft in one day. Like, this isn't real. And this one in particular, I watched this one yesterday. Day in the life of a game developer, where she goes shopping for salads and is in meetings all day and does nothing. So anyway, that's what you see when you go to YouTube. And this didn't used to be what was on YouTube in like 2009. When you typed in game dev in 2009, it was like way less stuff, and it was usually more useful, and it was usually like a guide or something on how to do a specific thing. And it wasn't, there wasn't like a heavy emphasis on community. It was more on the information. I noticed that there was just a difference. Culturally now it's different, where it's all like heavily, I don't know, like people that are my age, I don't know, maybe you can relate to this, I don't know, but it's just something I've noticed, and I think it's bad. And I have something to say about it, okay? Because I'm trying to think, like, I don't like this, And I feel like in the position I am, I have some kind of responsibility to help people avoid stuff like this. I don't know if that makes sense. That's a lot of shorts. That's right, Billy. There's a lot of shorts. And I don't watch shorts, okay? So I don't know who's watching these, but there are millions of people watching these. And I'm telling you right now that none of this is going to be that useful if it's only 20 seconds. And I don't know, man. I don't like it. Military says, hey there, funny question. I had a dream last night about a scenario that I want to turn into a game. I have absolutely zero experience. Where do I start? See, this is not to call you out, military, okay? That's a well-intentioned question, but this is the stuff I'm talking about. See, when I was starting, I never asked questions like that. I just went and did something and figured it out. And I've been trying to work out how to, and I know this sounds mean, and I know this is not what people want to hear, but I think the most valuable thing I could tell you is ask you, how do you think you should start? And maybe your answer might be, well, I think I should download software that helps me do it. And then this is the next obstacle everyone gets into, where there are so many videos on, like, what game engine do I pick? Like, that every second video I see is how to choose a game engine and whatever. You know what I did when I started? I typed in how to make a game on YouTube, and the first thing wasn't any of this crap. It was just, I'll show you what I watched, okay? I'll show you what I watched. This is the goal. This is the good stuff. Unfortunately, it's too out of date and it won't work anymore. Because this is like 10 years, 15 years out of date. And you can't download this version of Unity anymore. But this is the first result that came up for me back in the day was this specific series on how to make a video game from scratch. You notice how it isn't like how to choose. It's not overwhelming you with decisions. It's just telling you, just do this. Like, and this was the beginning of my journey in like 2009. This is 15 years ago. This is how I began. And the first thing they show is just Unity 2.6. And I didn't ask any questions. I'm like, well, these guys are using Unity. I'm going to do the same. And I'm going to follow this little guide. And I spent the first like 6 months of me tinkering after school following this guide that's like 50 parts long or something. And I didn't follow it perfectly. I didn't do everything beat for beat. If they did something that I didn't like, I would do my own version. So like they had this thing with the worm and the turret. I don't know, maybe some of you have done this tutorial as well, but this is kind of how everyone began back then. This was like, I think one of the most popular ones at the time, because people weren't really making Unity tutorials back then. But you know, they had their little worm character, and I didn't like this aesthetic, so I made my worm look different, and I didn't like these textures, so I picked different ones. And they had a thing where they had like the camera set up in a certain way, like tank controls, and I didn't want to do that, so I made mine different. And I just did my own little deviations and spins on this thing, and I didn't ask anyone for permission. I didn't ask anyone how to do something. I just sat down and figured it out. Now, and the reason why I think that's an important thing to do is because if you have the attitude of needing to ask, where do I start? Just from what I've observed, I've noticed that a lot of people that need to do that, like, or the people that I've seen that are trailblazers that do really cool things, and that's the level I'm trying to achieve. I'm not going to say that I'm on that level, because if I was on that level, I would have released more things by now. But the people I've seen that I admire don't do that. They don't ask, how do I do this, whatever. They just work it out. And they don't need to be told to start. That's the main ingredient, I've noticed. They don't need to be told to start. They will just do it on their own accord. And for you, who was it that asked that question? Military. I can't really tell you how you should start. I can tell you how I started, and that's what I've done. This might look appealing to you. It might not look appealing to you. The point is that I don't know you, and I'm not going to be able to tell you what will work, because this worked for me, and there's reasons why this worked for me. And if you aren't exactly like me, you might have a different set of preferences on what would work. Maybe for you, Unity sucks, and you might not like how Unity works, and you might want to do Godot. But most of these videos you see now of how to choose a game engine or whatever, I feel like these do an insufficient job at actually getting you to do stuff, because it just overwhelms you with like trying. It's like everyone's too afraid of picking the wrong thing. And they're so afraid of making a choice that they watch 10 of these videos before they do anything. Like, this has like 700,000, that's 700,000 people that instead of just downloading something and fiddling with it in 15 minutes, they instead spent that 15 minutes watching this. And it's just like, this is not a substitute for experience, these videos. Like, you would have a more valuable time spending 15 minutes in the wrong engine than watching this. Because if you at least play with the wrong engine, that's your own experience that you can play around with and go, oh, I understand that I don't like this for my own reasons because I'm a unique person. I'm not an interchangeable viewer. That's how I think about stuff, and that's, I think, how everyone should think about it. Because what you'll notice, because everyone in the world is going to tell you game developers don't do it, and they're right a lot of the time. It is not a financially rewarding career. And it's like, most people that fall into this end up as the statistical majority of people that give up. And I just see it happen. Because what this attitude does to you, what it does to your brain, is that it gives you reward and validation for being indecisive. And at some point, if you're doing something that's actually cool and not just on the trail of a tutorial that someone else has already made, when something actually gets difficult, and it will, because it has to get difficult, that's the price of entry to make something cool. The moment it gets difficult, you are not going to be prepared. And the community is not going to be able to help you, because you're going to have to solve it yourself at some point. There's going to be a moment that comes where you're not going to find the answer on a forum or on a Discord server. And most of those people, when they don't have the answer given to them, that's when because I just see people say this, people in my chat say this, people email me about this, and I see other people on Reddit talk about this all the time. And they get into the, oh man, I just want to work on my game, but I'm so burnt out and I'm so tired and I just need to lock in, but it's just so demotivating. That's how you end up there, is because you haven't built the muscle of figuring things out on your own and not needing to defer to the authority of the community for every decision. Because when you do that, the community authority runs out because they don't know everything. And they don't know everything about you in particular, because it's going to be very unique to you, I found. So with all of that, I know that was a big side tangent, but what does this have to do with the title of my stream and websites and stuff and anything like that? Because, to kind of bring it back to the main topic, I guess, I've noticed social media is kind of set up to incentivize this way it is currently, right? Because you can make a lot of money and get a lot of views catering to those people. I could be making way more money making videos every week telling all of you the top 5 tips, but I don't think any of that matters. I don't think it's valuable. But I would be doing much better off if I was spending my time making videos like that. And I don't know, spiritually, it just feels wrong. But I'm working on a platform that's working against my incentives. So part of what I've been thinking about this for like 6 months now, and the scam website thing going on was kind of the spark that actually made me want to take action on this. So for the last 6 months or something, I have not really been engaging in YouTube. I've done like a complete withdrawal. I haven't logged into Reddit in months. I'm on my Discord for my members, but otherwise I'm not really active there because I just don't really feel like talking most of the time. And this brings kind of it to the Discord as well. I know recently, like, I have the Discord for the game, and I know a lot of people, they want to treat it as some kind of like game dev tech support circle where you post like, I'm having this problem in Blender, help me please. And I know a lot of people want it to turn it into a place like that. And I don't want to run a place like that for a lot of those reasons. Because like I said, when I was beginning, and as I'm working on things currently, because these habits, they compound and they make me the guy that's able to do stuff like this. And when I was 12 on learning game development, Discord didn't exist, so I didn't fall into this trap. But I think Discord is a huge time sink for people that are actually wanting to do stuff. I think it's fine for gamers, and if you're not a dev, that's fine. This doesn't apply to you. If you're a gamer and you want to socialize with people with common interests, you like Project Feline for whatever reason. I know there isn't much to talk about right now because the game isn't like finished. But one day there might be a bit to talk about. You'll be able to talk about the characters and the story and the levels or what you liked about it. That's what I want the server to be for eventually, and I know that's going to be a while. But I know that there's a lot of pressure and people want it to be like this, game dev tech support forum. And the reason I don't do that is because I don't think that is what you need. Because I don't need it. And if I don't need it, and I'm not that smart, if I don't need it, you probably don't need it. Because then if you need it, then that takes time away from me because I then have to moderate a lot more things. And that interferes with me getting my work done. And that interferes with you getting your work done. And I really genuinely think that most people would be better off just shutting up and just being unafraid to just get in it on their own and not be afraid of making a mistake. Because I think a lot of these things where I see these posts of like, what engine do I start with or whatever, it's because people are too afraid to download the wrong one and spend 15 minutes figuring out for themselves if it's the right one. And that aversion to risk is not going to help you. If you're that averse to risk where you can't even decide, or you can't even, instead of listening to the voices in your head about, oh, what should I try to fix this problem? Like, if your first instinct is to defer to other people, I don't know, it doesn't make you resilient. And I think those people get demolished in the long term. That's just what I think. And I know it's not a popular opinion, but that's just what I think. I know that everyone wants to do it this way and whatever. But I don't know. If I had done it that way, Project Feline wouldn't exist. And where this comes through in a website is with my content and the stuff I make. Because like I said lately, I've been having a bit of a break from Discord and YouTube and all that, and the level design stuff even. I've had to put that on hold for a bit because the videos I'm making are very far behind my current progress. I'll show you that now, actually. We'll get into this a little. So I've been working on some videos, and this gets into some web, social media and website stuff. We'll get into this part of it as well, because there's that whole element to it, and there's this angle as well. So I'm sitting here working on videos. This is a little preview of the devlog. I've got clips of anime I'm using as reference, and I've got a longer segment here of other stuff. This is the Gabi devlog, by the way, and I've been chipping away at this, but I know that one thing that's bothering me a lot lately is that all of this work I'm talking about in this video, I did this like a year ago. And I've just been so busy that I haven't been able to dedicate a lot of time to get the video about it. So I've been putting all the level stuff on hold until I finish this because I really want to get this out there. But with running a YouTube devlog, because I've had a lot of thoughts about this for a while, and I think I finally figured out what my issue is. Because the stuff I want to make is not... I don't want to make topical things, if that makes sense. So this devlog series, part of the reason it's been difficult to maintain while doing the game, and why it's a bit behind, is because when I make these videos, I put in a lot of time into them because I want them to not age like milk. So that in 2 years, you can still watch one of these videos and you aren't cringing at the dated jokes or whatever. Because I noticed a lot of videos today, they're like over-edited, they have too much Adobe After Effects templates in them, and the information is usually very topical. Like, to go back to the YouTube search results again, if we search game dev, a lot of the videos you're going to see when we type this in, game dev, a lot of the videos you're going to see here are all like no older than a year. Most of them not even 6 months old. And these will taper off. In 6 months from now, all of these will not be shown to people anymore, and it's going to be a whole different set of videos that are going to be here. Like, you see how all of these, like 9 months, 3 months, 1 month, 3 days, you notice how none of these are that old? And most of these become completely irrelevant after a while. So, like, especially these sort of top 10 tips things, or like this type stuff, making small games in 2025, that has a limited lifespan. So he's put in all this work to make this video that after this year is over, no one is going to have a reason to watch ever again. Like, this video becomes completely useless after this year. And I don't know, man. I don't like I don't like making stuff like that personally. I could do it and I'd make a lot more money doing it, but I just don't believe in it, you know? I don't know if maybe that's why you guys watch my stuff. Maybe you don't like that stuff either. I don't know. But I just noticed a lot of people, they're all making stuff that's like not timeless, and it ages and it loses its value over time. But the stuff I want to do, I want it to accrue value. I want them to appreciate in value over time. And that takes a short-term sacrifice, and I understand that. But because what I want is that when the game is finished, what I want to have in the game is like a little link in the menu somewhere that's like, by the way, thanks for playing this game. Do you know there's a whole series on YouTube telling you how this was made? Because then that's like a whole new way I can entertain you. Once you finish the game, because what is the job of a game developer? It's to entertain. It's to give you some fun and some entertainment, and maybe teach you something along the way. So part of my vision as well with this is that when the mission is done, there is still all the work I've put into my videos can still give people value in 5 years. Where it's like you finish the game stuff and it's like, oh, this guy had a series, and then they go and watch it if they're bored, and all the videos still hold up, and it isn't some crap like how to make games in 2025 that is not relevant anymore or something like that. So, but the issue is with YouTube, because I know I'm rambling a bit. I'm going in a whole bunch of directions, but these are just a lot of the thoughts I've been taking some time lately to reflect, just with all the things that have been going on, and this is what I reckon about all of it. Because the thing is with uploading a devlog and maintaining it on YouTube is that you are punished for doing what I want. If you want to do what I'm doing and you want to make something that is still cool to watch in 5 years, YouTube doesn't want you doing that. It's disincentivized. YouTube, there's a strong, heavy recency bias where the only things you are going to watch are stuff that's recent, which means you have to post constantly. And I don't have stuff to say constantly. I try to have stuff to say constantly with the streams, but most of the videos I want them to survive longer than a stream. Because even this stream VOD, when in a week from now, none of you are going to come back to watch this stream VOD. And it's like, well, I've just wasted time if no one's going to... If there's only valuable for a week, I don't know, man. I don't like that attitude of that. So, to bring it to websites... Part of the inspiration for why I wanted to do this, because for a while I've been bothered by all of these variables and it's annoyed me. And I'm not saying I'm going to stop the devlog. I got to keep that going. And the devlog's been fun to work on. It's just there's been lots of friction with the incentives of the platform and what I want to do. But at the moment, my focus on it is to close the gap so that the stuff I'm making videos about is more present. But in the meantime, what I'm also thinking about is, well, I know that I'm never going to get to a point where those are quick to make just because of the nature of what they are supposed to be. I know that I want these to be videos that age well. And as a result, these are not going to be the sorts of things that are like a regular thing. That's what these streams are more like. But then for the streams, there's limited as well, because the only people, all of you here right now, you're here because you're available. But that's like, if we get a pie graph, that's like a small slice of most people. Most people are not in the specific time zones or on broadcasting right now, and they're asleep, and they miss out on all this. And part of the appeal is you get to be here now. But so where a website comes in, because I've been wanting to redo my website for a while, because my current website is not really impressive, okay? It's just a landing page, and I made this in Wix.com like years ago, and I've done a bit of redesigning on it, like last month I changed up the images. This is the current website. It's just a landing page. There's nothing really that valuable here. It's just, it's got a wish list and links. It's basically a glorified link tree. And link trees are not they're just road signs to take you to other places. And these other places all have the same problem with the strong recency bias. And one thing I've wanted to do for a while is start using my devlogs to drive people towards something that is going to be there in between the devlogs. Because I've noticed that because they take a while, people tend to forget the game exists in between them. And I know for a lot of you that want to follow this game, it's probably agonizing when you go 3 months without a devlog, because you want to know what's going on, but it's like the only things I've got are the streams. And unless you happen to be the kind of person that likes streams, you're going to miss out. And one thing I've been thinking is I want to have a home base that is easier, less maintenance to maintain, that's easier to update, concurrent to the devlog, so that some people have something. And so this draft I'm doing is sort of like what I envision a better version of it would be. And what I've been inspired by is a lot of old websites with home pages and blogs and stuff from before social media. So I've done this little mock-up. It's stylistically very similar to the current one in terms of the graphics, but one thing I've been thinking about is having some kind of like blog section on here where I share stuff like this condensed in text form, because it's way cheaper and easier to do than a devlog, just to have alongside it. Because even for me, the stuff I like following are blogs. I don't actually like these sorts of videos you see on YouTube with the top 10 tips, because I don't watch that. But I would want to find more stuff like this personally. So I was looking at John Blow's The Witness blog. I've been looking at like blogs from musicians that I followed. And the unfortunate thing is a lot of these blogs are like 10 years old and they don't update them anymore. But I will go and read them and pretend they are recent, because there actually is a lot of cool stuff in there. And I like browsing it, the experience of browsing it, better than YouTube. And I don't know if this is just me being unk status or whatever. I don't know, maybe you guys don't care about this. But I don't know, for me, I'm finding the older I get, the less I like being on YouTube. Like, as a user. Because it's just constant noise. And I don't like it. And if I'm here trying to work on a game, I don't want noise. I just want quiet. And I've noticed that blogs and these old sorts of websites, like if you go on, I'm trying to think of examples. I've been looking at a lot of stuff on like NeoCities, I think it's called now. I don't know if you guys have heard about these sorts of things, but apparently I'm not the only one that has an issue with this. There's been a lot of people as well hosting their own like indie websites through services like NeoCities and stuff. And this is the kind of stuff to me that's more interesting as a user. I think that, like, this, I don't know what this is even, but this looks freaking sick. This looks way cooler than the YouTube homepage. Like, come on, man. Now, and this is how I know. It's not because I'm a boomer, because this guy is supposedly 18, okay? So this is a Zoomer, fresh out of the womb here. And even this 18-year-old agrees with me. So I'm not old and grumpy, okay? Young people agree with me as well. So, I mean, look how cool this is. Look how much passion is in here, right? And there's another part of this as well, and this is where you guys become important. This gives you some kind of impression, doesn't it? Like, I'm just going to read chat for a moment. What do you guys think? Like, what's your instant first reaction to this? I'm gonna see your reactions, because I'm really curious what you guys think. PSP locked and loaded? Yeah, look, it's so cool, man. Look at this. It's sick. 2005, that's right. It's giving MySpace vibes. Yeah, man. Reminds me of anime journals. I don't even know what those are, but they sound cool. Hard to read. Well, yeah. So the only downside is because a lot of these people, these are like old websites. They're using old rules where back when people had 640 by 480 monitors, where size 12 font was the norm. I think that's the issue. But you can fix that by zooming it. But yeah, there's some like early web. There's some bits of the early web that kind of haven't aged well, like the small fonts. But that's something you can like. If I'm doing my own site, I can solve that like pretty easy. Med says a lot more interesting to look at than the simple YouTube UI. Yeah. The thing is as well. Here's my observation that I really like. What I like is that on the side of this website, there isn't a entire Russian roulette huge list of Mr. Beast thumbnails. That's what I like about it, because there isn't traffic. You know what I mean? It's like the being on the YouTube page is like being in traffic. It's constant honking, it's like being on an Indian road. And there's just people going everywhere. No one's like, it's just chaos. That's what it feels like. And I don't know, I never realized that there was an alternative, because as I started using the internet more, because this is a little before my time, this stuff. I wasn't really using the internet when this stuff was the web one. I wasn't really using the internet then. I didn't start using the internet until around like the PewDiePie Markiplier, that sort of era when YouTube had been bought by Google, and I would watch YouTube videos with my friends, and we would watch Markiplier gaming, PewDiePie gaming best hits. Like, that was what me and my friends in high school, that's how we used the internet. And then Reddit was sort of there, and like MySpace was falling off. That was sort of when I was using the internet. And then I naturally, when I started doing Project Feline, that's kind of when YouTube started to really become more dominant. And I was most of my engagement became just watching videos. And I missed out on this whole thing. But this, to me, man, like, I think a lot of, I don't know, maybe a lot of us today, I don't know, maybe some of you, I don't know, because I don't really talk to a lot of people about this, but I've noticed that I think a lot of people assume it's like the norm for it to be like the equivalent of an Indian street, where it's just honking, tuk-tuk cars everywhere, like the mental equivalent of that everywhere. I think people assume that's just the norm, and they settle into it because they haven't seen an alternative. But this, to me, man, this is so much cooler. Whatever this stuff is, I don't know what the contents of this site is. I have no idea what it's even about. But I don't want to spend a lot of time online. But the time I do want to spend, I want to spend it in places like this. Because this, to me, is like a rural village. That's spiritually what this feels like. Whereas YouTube and TikTok, I don't even use, like, I don't think I even know the worst of it, because I don't use TikTok. I don't watch shorts. And I know most people do. And I can't imagine what that is like. I honestly can't do it. I've tried. I went on the TikTok homepage once, and I have no idea how people handle that. It's just so overstimulating, and I can't do it. Like, I don't know if it's just me being weird, but it's just like I just like it's an assault on the senses. And my brain just shuts down, and I have to look away because it's just too much. But this is I don't know, this is nice. So the thing is, as well, there's another part of this, and that comes with community. So I might sound like a grumpy old boomer, okay, and I'm not a community participant. That's not how I see myself. The thing is, though, is that I think a lot of people want me to be like that. So when I have my Project Feline Discord, for instance, like I was saying earlier, a lot of you, or not you, but like a lot of people, and if this is you, this is not an attack, this is not a criticism, this is just an observation. But I notice a lot of people, they want to turn it into this, like, if I type in Blender, because I used to be on Discords like this, because I'm just to whiplash for a moment, to do a complete 180. The opposite of this is things like the Blender community Discord or something, or YouTube Shorts or something. And I know that Discord might not seem like it's on the same level as YouTube, but I think Discord is kind of the same. This is a really low res image, my goodness. But I'm going to put this up for a moment. Just pretend it's high res for a sec. So I still count Discord as social media because Discord feels busy in the same way. And I used to be in these I used to be on the official Blender Discord. I used to be on the Unreal one. And I left those because it's just constant boop, boop, message, and it's usually something that doesn't matter. And it's usually just, oh, I need help with whatever. And it's like, it's a lot of traffic. And it's usually a problem because a lot of these servers, they have like 100,000 people in them. And I don't know, I'm an extreme introvert, so for me, I can't handle it. And I know a lot of people, they want me to be the guy that runs these sorts of places, and they want me to be a pillar to the community, but I've noticed that when I've tried to do that, I meet a lot of friction, and it doesn't feel correct. It doesn't feel like it's in character for me to do. And the thing is, for other people, maybe you in the chat or something, I don't know. I don't know how it's like for other people, but I think for people that follow me that want me to do this, I think it demoralizes them a lot. And I've had to do this before where I shut down the Discord. Some of you might remember I shut my one down for a while, and I brought it back because everyone kept wanting it back. But I noticed that when people shut it down, they got really upset because I was like taking away like something valuable from them. Like, I didn't see it as valuable, but I think what people that if you're like this where you like being on Discord, because I can't imagine, I'm not like that, okay, I don't really get it, but I think if I had to imagine what it is people like, it's like a sense of community and belonging. And I think when I deleted my Discord that time, people felt I was taking that away and they were upset. And I kind of get that. I don't relate to it, but I understand it. And that's kind of why people congregate on YouTube Shorts and TikTok and YouTube and whatever, even maybe my channel and Discord, is that they want to belong. I think that's I don't know. You guys tell me if I'm spitting or if I'm completely off track. I don't know. This is just what I've observed. But with sites like this, when you have like a blog with a comment section or something, like, I don't know, does this guy have a blog? Let's have a look. Let's browse. Let's surf the web. Okay, let's have a look at this. See, to me, because one thing I don't like about Discord and YouTube is that, and even chat right now, even all this stuff, right? I'm trying to link it all together, because when you're a game developer and when you're trying to make stuff, and when you've got a community, it's a thing you have to manage. And maybe some of you that are game devs, you'll relate to what I'm talking about. If you aren't a game dev and you're here to be entertained, I don't know, it might not make sense to you, but I'm going to try and do my best to explain all of that. So, where to begin? So it's like when you're following a developer, when you're seeing the journey, because one thing that's been difficult for me running the channel, talking to you guys and all that stuff, one thing that's always been a bit uncomfortable is that it feels very, how would you say? It feels impersonal. I don't know if that makes sense. Does that, I don't know if that word means the same thing to everyone as it means to me, but does that make sense? I don't know. Like, maybe the live stream's not so much, but I feel like when, like, you post something and like, I make a devlog or whatever, I post it somewhere, people see it. Because on the one hand, I really love working on the game and I want to share the stuff I'm doing. But I don't know, something about the platform of YouTube, the platform of Discord, or whatever it is, it feels really impersonal. And I don't know why, but it feels that way. I don't know if maybe you guys feel the same and maybe you have some reason why it does. But I don't know, I can't really explain it. I'm doing a terrible job explaining this. But it's like, it feels like, I don't know. It feels like the audience is almost invisible in a weird way. And I know you guys, like, I see you in chat here, but the thing is, what I don't like is that all I get to see of I see way less of you than you see of me, right? If that makes sense. Whereas if we look at this dude's site here, this is a much bigger presence. Like, this presence is a lot bigger than a little icon with a username next to it. Because I don't know how it looks like from your point of view, but from my point of view, one thing that's just been bothering me a lot is for the people, I don't know about people that follow me or with my stuff. And that makes it difficult because I'm just kind of in my head all the time. I'm trying to do my thing. And I know people appreciate it I don't know why people appreciate it, because all I get to see of you is some text in a font you didn't pick and an icon and a username. That's all I see. But when you look at people this way, this tells me way more about them. It tells me stuff it gives me an impression beyond that of an icon and a text message. And there's something when you don't have this, it makes everything feel very impersonal. And I like having a degree of distance with people generally. But I don't know, because on the one hand, this to me feels like a better equilibrium, where it's like I can see more about them beyond an icon. But the thing with social media is that you get more direct access to people. You can talk to people more easily. I don't know if I'm making any sense here. But us talking now, because the thing that's been frustrating me since I've started my channel, and it's taken me years to work out what it is I don't like. Because I've got you guys here, right? But it doesn't feel like you're here. And I know, and I'm not trying to piss you off, okay? I'm not trying to depersonalize you, but I'm just saying from what I see, it doesn't really feel like I'm connecting, if that makes sense. And the thing is, it might not look that way to you. To you guys, it might look that way. But for me, because what you see of me is way more than I see of you. There's an imbalance. That's what I'm trying to say. That's the short of what I'm trying to say. And just trying to figure out. Look, I'm really bad at explaining my feelings, okay? And this is a very personal. These are a lot of personal preferences, so this might not sound coherent at all. I have no idea, but I know it bothers me, and I want to do something about it. I'm gonna see what you got. Maybe you guys can help me work this out. Kitty Dragon says, "I totally get it. Just scrolling text while you sit alone." Yeah, precisely, right? Do you want a picture of my finger? Says Admiral. No, I don't want that. That's a bit too personal. I don't need a picture of your finger. That's fine. But like, because the thing is, even for you guys here, some of your names I will recognize. I remember Admiral Minor. I remember Cybershell. I remember K1. But all I remember about you is a name. And all I know is that, you know, because when you're a creative person, this is because this might seem completely irrelevant. You're like, what does this have to do with making a game? The reason it's important is that I think, especially for an indie and especially for solo creators like me, it's important to have an image in your head of who you're making for. And a lot of the time I don't struggle with that because I just think about what I want to do and I will do it. But there are times when you need to have a bit of a balance between what you want and what kind of value you're going to give to other people. And one thing I just find frustrating is that I can't get a clear read on you because I'm not actually seeing you. All I'm seeing is this is what I see from my point of view, and this doesn't tell me much about you. I don't know what you're interested in. I don't know why you're interested in it. And it's not because it's not like I want to collect all the information I can about you in like a marketing way. No, it's a personal thing. Because I think a key ingredient to indie game development is a lot of people, the reason they love indie games is because they have soul, right? They have soul. They have like a personal connection with the people that it's made for, and it isn't just a soulless product. And I feel like a risk you get being someone like me where you have a devlog and your only means of interacting with people is social media, you run the risk of losing sight of the person. And that's just something I feel from time to time. And it worries me because I know that if I lose track of the person, then it calluses you. And if you're in a point, and this has happened to me, and maybe this has happened to some of you guys as well, when you try and make something, if you're too detached, you can definitely be too attached. And I think Discord and YouTube do that to a degree. But there's a point at which you can be too detached and you become kind of bitter. I don't know if that makes sense. But that does happen from time to time. And I know that is bad. I don't know. That might not make any sense at all, but that's just something I noticed. I'm going to read some of what you guys say as well. Discord is media where you're social. Yeah, well, yeah, I see. Most people they don't count Discord as social media for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's because there isn't a feed or something, maybe. But I still think the thing with Discord I still don't like is it's too crowded a lot of the time for my liking. The access is too instant. And I don't know how to quite word this yet, but there's an equilibrium between convenience of how quickly you can talk to people and how convenient it is. And like what you see of the representation of the user. So if you only see an avatar and a username, that's something. And then there's also like how easily can you message them or something. And for me personally, maybe this is just me, maybe I'm just crazy, but I've noticed that for me, I actually prefer environments that are less busy, that are deeper. So I want to show you, I think it's like I don't know the exact URL, but I'm going to try and Google for it real quick. Because the thing is because when you have stuff like a live chat or something, and I'm not trying to like call out YouTube or this is not what I'm trying to do. This is just observations. But I'll bring up something I'll bring up the website again. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll use my own mock-up here as a visual for what I'm trying to say. So if I had something like this is what I'm picturing. Because what I would like to have is my own little small town, my own little rural village for Project Feline in between the devlogs. It's not to say I want to abandon YouTube entirely. It's just that I think I've been on the platform long enough to understand that the incentives are chafing with my intentions. And I think this is true for a lot of indie developers that are trying to do the same thing. And what I would prefer is maintaining that still, not having to only do that though, and having another outlet that's lower maintenance like this. And the reason I like this is because I've in my little mock-up here, I've got like a little blog area with like what I would write. Like I would want to write, this is how I'd want to write stuff. Because I do this for my Patrons anyway, but most of you guys don't see it because it's on my Patreon and no one checks Patreon. But if I had my own little site that was well designed, that had personality to it, and maybe imagine a little comment section beneath it, because I don't know, there's something about it that feels more personal, and it feels like the kinds of interactions you have on a site like this are higher quality than Discord. I don't know if that makes sense. Because I've noticed with Discord, everyone just argues. Like I go on the Unreal or Ask Game Dev Discord, people are just always arguing about, well, Unreal's better, Discord's better, Unity's better. And that's not the kind of stuff I want to talk about. Like, I don't care about that. But if you have, if you had like a network of people that all had their own little sites like this, I don't know, when I look at other people's old blogs from 10 years ago, the quality of discussion is a lot higher. Because it feels more like, instead of me messaging a message that's like a cheap message that doesn't really have anything valuable in the message, it feels more like getting a handwritten letter. And I don't know, that to me feels cooler. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like I don't know, there's just something about the universe of a blog with a comment section that has the spiritual feeling of being written letters instead of like arguing over nothing in a Discord chat. I don't know. There's something different about that I personally like more. The only thing is that I don't think it's as popular as it was 10 years ago or whatever. But I don't want to live in a world where the only option is you have to be a TikToker and have lots of high quantity, low quality interactions. Because I personally, maybe I'm just an outlier, but I can't handle that. And I know that if I try and make myself do that, it's not going to end well. Because I don't know, maybe for more extroverted people, it's fine. But I can't, like, maybe some of you are like this too, where you're extremely, like, oversensitive. I'm a bit like that. Maybe a bit introverted, like I am. And if that's you, maybe you are like that as well. If you watch me, maybe you're like that. I don't know. For that kind of temperament, I can't handle this TikTok, whatever. I can't do it. But I'm sick and tired of everyone treating it like that's the only option. So that's kind of, I don't know. I've just been reflecting and thinking about a lot of that lately. And instead of just, you know, simmering in rage about it, I've made up this little mock-up as a vision of, well, how would I want to talk to you? Like, because I think that is important. Because the thing is, if we're going to maintain a relationship here, right, which is what we're doing, I don't want me to be bitter about the relationship because the only thing I get from you is, because the only way I can talk to you is through social media or something. Because there's a lot about social media that makes me, that corrupts my soul. And you don't want to be talking to me if my soul is like under attack. Okay. So I know that it's going to make me difficult to follow, and it's going to make me less enthusiastic to talk about what I'm doing. And that's ultimately, you guys want to hear about that, right? You guys want to know what's going on. And it's just, there's a lot of chafing and friction where I want to talk about it, but the platform is wanting me to do it in a certain way that maximizes things I don't care about. Like, I don't know, there's a whole thing there that it's just been sitting on my mind for many months now. And when I started seeing these scam websites come up, I don't know what it was, but it made me think, well, let me look at my own website for a minute and think, you know, maybe I'm actually sleeping on something here. Maybe I could do something really cool with my own site and make it cool. I don't know. It just, whatever sequence of events, it just led to that. And so I've just put down the level for a moment to sort out these thoughts and these ideas, because I know it might not seem like much now, but I think in the long term, this might change the rest of the journey up until release. Because when I get to that point, because I know I feel every year that goes by, I feel more and more demoralized by the way it is, just with the way the social media and game development is. And I don't want to get to the end and be so demoralized that I don't feel motivated to even make videos, because I know that that is starting to happen. And I don't want to reach that point, because then it's over. I don't want to become apathetic. And I don't want to be like, oh, well, what's the point of sharing my journey if I have to make everything like Mr. Beast or whatever? Like, I don't want to go there. So I know this might seem like a massive side tangent or whatever, but I feel like in the long term, this serves a good purpose, like mentally, spiritually, and like for us to maintain because the kind of relationship I want to have with all of you that watch is not the kind of relationship that YouTube and stuff incentivizes. You know, I even if it means I have less people there, because I know most people don't read blogs, and that's fine. I'd rather have less people that are more interested than a lot of people, because I can't handle a lot of people. I don't think it was meant for me to be popular, but that's okay, because I would rather have, like, if it's only 10 people that care about this, that to me sounds, I don't know, I feel more suited to that temperamentally than trying to be on TikTok or something. I don't know. You guys tell me how you think about that. You tell me if this is a complete, if you have anything to add or whatever. I'm curious what you guys reckon, because I don't know. This has just all been in my head for a while, and I wanted to say something about it. But yeah, and it's I'm curious what you guys reckon. Would you guys want to follow a blog? I mean, I would want to write it. I don't know if it'd be interesting for you guys. If you think it wouldn't be interesting, I'd be curious to hear why. Marl said this makes me miss forum signatures. Yeah, man, because like none of you guys have signatures here, right? And signatures, they say something. Like when you looked at old profiles, people had like a bigger profile picture usually. Because, dude, I hate this. Twitch is even worse, by the way. Because with Twitch, hey Twitch chat, you don't even get an icon. All I see is a username. And it's like, well, this doesn't tell me anything about you. It feels so impersonal, and I hate it. Because it's like, I don't want to talk to just some username. I want to know more about this person that's watching me, because it feels more reciprocal. And I think I don't know if this makes sense, but if you're on the receiving end, if you're on this side of the camera where I am, when you're on that side, it does get to you after a while, where it's like you don't really understand who you're making for, and that just annoys me a lot. But I will never be able to find out those answers with the ecosystem that is here. I'm never going to get that, because first of all, there's a character limit on these messages. Even if one of you here right now wanted to start saying like something cool or some cool thought you had about whatever, you won't be able to, because Twitch will limit it, or Discord will limit it, or whatever. And I think it discourages high quality conversation. And it's not that because the thing is, I thought it was because I just hate conversation. And then I realized that no, it's not that I hate it. It's just I like it at a different quality with less frequency. That's what I prefer. I'll read your message though. I understand your dislike towards Discord, especially large servers. They become impersonal, impossible. Yeah. The annoying thing for me in particular on this thought is that if you're moderating one of these, the problem is tenfold. Because part of the reason I don't do it is because I don't personally have an interest in participating in large Discords. But if I'm running one, I have to wrangle everyone else that's participating. And, some people might want to spend their time doing that, and that's fine. I'm not saying that you're wrong if you want to manage a big Discord community. If you want to do that, that's cool. It's not me. I'm not personally not good at it. And I also... when you're trying to make a game, you just don't have time. Like, the mental stress of worrying of, like, I have a game about my Discord. I wake up, like, the mental stress of waking up every morning and did someone post porn in my Discord? Like, that is not a stress I want to wake up with. Because that's what it was like at one point, when everyone was super active, and, like, every other day someone was posting something that wasn't supposed to be there. And it's just, like... that stuff I've noticed doesn't really happen on blogs and forum or comments or whatever. Like even YouTube comments is still kind of better, but on Discord it happens all the time. And that, like, there's a reason why you hit, like, you know, the whole stereotype with Discord is like, you know, kids getting groomed on Discord. Like, there's a reason why that's a stereotype on Discord and nowhere else. And I think it has something to do with the format of it. Like, I've never heard of a story like that happening with, like, a blog. And why does that matter? Well, it matters because, like, if you're in my position where you're responsible for a server and, you know, there are kids getting groomed on it or whatever. This is just worst case scenario. I'm not saying that this happens all the time, but it has been known to happen. It just adds a lot of stress on top of you having to also make a game. And it's just, I don't want to deal with that. And it's a big like, that's what I always say, that it's a bigger responsibility than people assume. And that's why, partially, because there is a lot of vectors of attack for unproductive discussion and grooming and that kind of stuff. And it's just, I don't like it, man. I just don't like it. To continue your thought, though, you said blogs being more personal. I'm reminded of Arxis mindsets towards 3D, having more control lets the artists express them. Dude, I was thinking the same thing. That's crazy, dude. That's it. You know what? Because that's why I had this idea. Because I've spent months researching. When I was doing Gabi's model, I spent months doing the Arc System Works research. And I had the same, maybe their attitude's been infecting my brain and I'm seeing it everywhere now. But it's more intentional, yes. And the comments you leave on a blog, the posts you write are more intentional than a Discord message. And I like intentionality. I like that. I don't like because Discord kind of encourages you to be flippant as well, which I don't like. I think I'm a meaner person on Discord than I would be on a blog. It changes your personality, I think, to a degree. I'll continue. Sorry, you've left... Every time I respond to one of your comments, you leave another comment. I'll read another. I like the idea of you having a blog. Thank you. Sense of personality, more direct. Yeah, it does feel more direct too. But yeah, there's YouTube chat as well. I'll see what some of you say for a moment. Thought on the other message didn't get sent. Oh, did the chat block it or something? I don't know. I don't... there's meant to be a mod view on YouTube chat, but it doesn't show me the mod tools for some reason. Thiago says, Discord is a bad idea for anyone. I don't have a good term dealing with it. I mean, yeah, like, because here's the thing, right? Is that, like, my current Discord, it has, like, 2,000 members. And a lot of people, they don't really use it, but they complain that people don't talk on it. Like, every week, there's some guy saying, why is the chat so dead or whatever. First of all, like... that doesn't happen on places like this. If you have a blog or whatever, because it made me think, why do people care that the chat's dead? Because I don't care. Why do other people care that chat's dead? And it occurred to me that, I don't know, maybe you guys can tell me if this is true, but I've just noticed that a lot of big Discords, it's like everyone wants to be on there all the time. And be like socializing constantly. I don't know. Is that real? Chat, is this real? I don't know, but I don't have time for that personally, and I don't like the idea of a platform that wants you to be on it all the time. Like, I don't know if that is like a crazy boomer take or something, but I've just noticed, like, when I was on the official Blender thing, literally every minute there'd be some new message from, like, the same group of 10 people or whatever. And they'd talk all day. And it's like... I don't know what there is so important that you need to be all day talking about. I don't know. And I think... I don't know, maybe these people, they want my server to be like that. But I don't want people talking all the time. Like... people have stuff to do. Like, I have stuff to do. You probably have stuff to do. And if you... look, if you want, you spend your time however you want. I don't care. It's just... because when you're responsible for running one of these communities and you want people that want to be there all the time, you have to be there all the time as well to make sure that, you know, to take responsibility for the community. Because that is something you have to do. And it's just like, you know, I can't afford to do that. I just don't have time. And I would rather spend time working on the game than, like, having to 24/7 make sure people aren't posting porn or grooming children or something. Like, that's, you know... like I don't know, I think the name Discord is not an accident. When I start thinking about it, what an insidious name for a platform. Discord. You know what that word means? Has anyone actually, do any Zoomers in here actually know what the word Discord means beyond the chat platform? I'm going to read you the definition. The definition of Discord is lack of agreement among persons, groups. Like, like it's almost as if it's by design and that everyone is supposed to be arguing all the time. Tension, strife, confused, harsh. And it's like, I don't want to be around that. That sucks. I don't want to spend my entire mental energy in confusion, tension, strife. Who the hell wants that? I don't know. Maybe some of you want that and that's fine. Cool. Not judging, okay? If that's you, that's cool. You are way more resilient than I am, and I admire that. I am not that person, though. I can't handle all that strife, man. I just can't do it. Maybe if I wasn't making a game, I could do it. If I had nothing to do, I could do it. But when I'm here trying to bring Gabi to life, trying to make videos, and that, I can't do it. I just can't. So I don't know. I don't know, is that crazy? Is that out of pocket? Am I going to get cancelled for saying that? I don't know. Lucas says to some Discord is a messaging app, but how much people use it depends on... Yeah. So, because I have an account and I use it to... Because here's the thing. I still use it to talk with some people. Like I message like family and friends with it, and then I have my server, and that's what I use it for. But I've noticed that I'll see other, like I have a friend that like he like runs D&D games and stuff. And I think he uses Discord to help organize those, and he has like a server for it. But then I look on his sidebar and he has like 50 other servers. I'm just like, whoa, that's a lot. Like, how do you keep track of all that? I don't know how people do that. And I don't know, maybe some people can do that, but I don't understand it. I can't, to me, it's too much stimulation, too much. It's just too much. I can't do it. Centripetal says you already produce a lot of stuff for social media. It eats into I mean, yeah, that as well. That's why I think with blogs, right? What I like about just the thing of this idea is that blogs are a lot lower maintenance. Because I actually, one thing that's been frustrating me, right, with the devlogs is that because of the incentives and the way YouTube works, I have to put in a lot of work into them so they get seen. And that has a benefit, because then people hear about the game. Like, my last video got like 400,000 views, which is useful. So I know that there are people that see social media as a complete waste of time. I don't entirely agree, because those people are the people that end up on Reddit that complain that I spent 5 years on my game and no one bought it because they didn't talk about it. And I knew someone that actually did that, and they were really bitter that no one, like... But they didn't want to spend any time engaging with people. Like, they had the very extreme, I don't want to make any content or anything, and they failed. So I know that isn't how I see it. But there is a balance. I think you can go too much, right? Now, the thing with me is that I could go too much and I could start making, like, you know, I could go overboard, top 10 tips every day or something, but I don't want to do that. So I try to keep it balanced between the stuff I'm working on and like making good videos that tell the story. Because part of the value as well is that it helps people know about the game so that I have people to release it to when it's done. And also, I don't know, I think the journey is as important as the destination. And I think, I don't know, like, I've noticed that as I make videos, it helps me understand my own stuff better. Like, it gives me room to process what I've done. And it gives me a break for introspection, which I think is important for development. I think if I didn't do that, I would have quit the project years ago, because I would not have had any breaks to introspect on what I was doing and reflect and get feedback and stuff. I don't think it's like all social media is bad and that devlogs are a waste of time or whatever. Like, there's a balance. It's just that at the state it is currently, I've kind of made too much progress on my game to the point where the devlogs are super far behind, and I'm trying to catch up that gap currently. That's my current priority for the video stuff. However, at the same time, I'm thinking ahead after the gap is a bit more closed, because I don't want to make videos every week. but I want something every week to have that is like more lower maintenance and digestible, that is there in between. Because I want my vision is that I want the devlogs, and what I would like to have it is like once every month or 2 months or something. And that's been difficult to maintain because this one I'm working on currently, this is like 6 months of progress that I did a year ago, condensed down into an hour, which is like, I don't want more big videos like this. Hopefully this will be one of the last big ones I do. Just because of like, you know, the way development's gone. I'm trying to get to a point where it's more frequent, but even then I know that it's going to probably be a month or two between. And it's like, all right, well, I want something more regular that's lower maintenance, and I don't want Discord. That is not, I don't know. I just know it's not the right thing. So I don't know. That's sort of, this is what I'm working towards. Now I don't know, maybe I should show you around this design because it might not look that, I do want to improve it though. I think it could use some improvement. Billy says, I mean, weekly stream chat about progress sounds like enough. I mean, I think it's good. I enjoy them. And I don't want to stop doing that, of course. At the same time, there is financial and other incentives as well with streams, where with streams, the way that YouTube wants you to stream is they want you to stream 11 hours a day every day. That's how you become a good streamer. And that's how you actually make it profitable or whatever. Like for me, I know that I'm trying to like do that, and I'm thankful for people that leave messages, donations. It helps it so that this is at least a bit sustainable. But I know that unless I do the whole like Asmongold whatever strategy where you're always live, then it's not really a good, it's you'll never be a top performer. Like you're never going to be a great streamer. And I've kind of accepted that. But I don't know, there's something about the written format, I don't know, because the thing with the streams is I can only talk to you now while you're here. With a blog post, this is sort of where it gets to the recency bias. Because there's a lot of things I want to talk about that aren't worth talking about on YouTube or on a stream, because most of the people that would find it interesting might not realize they find it interesting until 2 years from now, at which point they would never get recommended the video or the stream in which I would talk about it. Whereas I've noticed with home pages and old blogs, like let's look at the other dude's webs. I don't know if I still have that tab open, right? Because here's the other ingredient, is that all the stuff now that you're seeing is the value depreciates. YouTube, any stream I do, any video I make depreciates in value instantly because of the platform. Like I like sharing this here, I like talking to you here, and that's cool. There's a value there, but the stuff I'm actually talking about, like all the stuff the other week with the level design, all of like the cool things about choosing limited colors, choosing grids, all this stuff, that stuff is still going to be cool information in 5 years. But on YouTube, the stream where I've talked about it, no one is ever going to watch that ever again. Like that is now out of the algorithm. It's never going to get recommended to anyone. And that information dies. But on a homepage like this, let's have a browse for a second. I don't know. Let's have a look at some of these. Or like this, or like some of these, like, let's have a look. I don't know. Let's just have a browse, right? You see how this isn't a feed. You notice how when you look, you can actually, let's go look at cool stuff. Oh, cool. I have no idea what this is. Let's look at web graphics. Let's have a look. Oh, it's not opening. Okay. Looks like this is a work in progress still. Let's look at directory. Okay, well this is still a work in progress. Let's look at the other dude though. So he has a timeline blog and stuff here, which some websites do, but you don't have to do it like that on a blog, right? Because what I've seen some blogs do, and this is I was looking at the Witnesses website. With things like this, I was reading through, okay, I'm gonna just go here anyway. The thing with a game like this is you can read the blog and it doesn't depreciate. So like, check this out. I look at the website and he's talking about this shader trick he did. And this is like, okay, cool. And it's like dated and stuff, but there are ways to find older things, if you know what I mean. Now, this website doesn't do the best. Well, there's categories. Let's have a look. Development. Let's have a look. Okay, cool. So we can see stuff from like 5-10 years ago that is just as easy to find as stuff that was posted. Like if he posted something now, it'd be just as easy to find. I just scroll through. Oh, cool. Let's have a look at what this is. Now, this is still a bit sequential. I have seen other websites that do it a bit better, where they'll have like tags and they'll have like a gallery of stuff and posts. And it's like just as easy to find old stuff as it is to find new stuff. But on YouTube, Twitch is actually even worse. Because with Twitch, if you aren't live, you don't see anything. Like at the minute I hop off stream, in Twitch, I don't exist anymore, right? So that's something I don't like. But with something like this website, this is like from 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, and I can still read about it. And it's still just as valuable as it was when it was posted. And it might even appreciate in value if, you know, if this becomes hidden knowledge, or even that other website I was talking about, actually the Ben Mathis website we were talking about on stream the other week, the poopinmymouth.com. Don't laugh. This is a great website, unironically. This website, right? Something like this, this stuff can't survive in social media. This sort of website. Because this to me is probably the most valuable thing I've ever seen about game development on the internet, period. This to me is way more valuable than top 10 game dev tips, top 10 ways to get started in 2025, all this junk. This is gold, but this is not shown on YouTube. This is hidden I had to go on like this old Polycount post from like 2009 to find this. And that's a shame, because this is so good. Like, this is some of the best written resources I've seen. And this is, I'm not saying I want to create stuff exactly like this, but with the stuff that I find interesting, I think it would survive better in this format. Like, even in the last video I made about, you know, the contractor thing and washing the bowl and all of those ideas, that would actually survive pretty well in a written post like this that you could browse like this, where you see how here you can browse a whole grid of stuff, and all of these would have been posted at different times, but you wouldn't know it, would you? Maybe this was posted yesterday. Maybe this one was posted 10 years ago. But it's all equally discoverable. And you don't get that with a YouTube channel. You don't get that with Twitter. You don't get that with Discord. You know, on Discord, there are messages I've written there from 4 years ago that no one is ever going to find because it was written... Even if it's a really cool message that's valuable, you're never going to see it again because it's buried. Stuff doesn't get buried as easily here if it's well organized. And you get the freedom to organize things in a website like this. You don't... with YouTube, you don't really get that. So there's another element as well, I guess, to that too. Sorry, I've rambled a bit too long, but I don't know. There's all of these things I've just been noticing that I would rather, like, this is something like this would be way cooler to make than having to constantly make like recent things, if that makes sense. I don't know. Does that make any sense? Is that coherent, or should I diagnose myself with schizophrenia by now? I don't know if like, does that make any sense? But I don't know. That's just what I reckon. Cybershell says YouTube is becoming a new 9 to 5, and the most popular ones carry the explosive I showed speed energy. Well, yeah, now that's a whole other thing that I don't really know how to address. The whole, like, the showmanship. I don't think that's always too bad. But, actually, no, I think what I don't like about it is that the high energy edit, because I've had to do this in my videos as well, and I don't like it, where as I'm editing this video, I'm going to tell you a story, just a short story here on that point of the other thing as well, with like the iShow speed, Mr. Beast energy as well with it. Because with videos like this, what's annoying about making an hour-long video like this that's made it really difficult? Is that every second, if you're posting this to YouTube, you have to worry about click-through rate. You have to worry, if I take too long to explain something here, are people going to click off? If I for a moment drop my energy, are people going to click off? And that anxiety didn't used to exist. Like, when I write stuff for Patreon, I don't have that anxiety, and I can actually be way more creative. But with YouTube, because of there's a financial incentive to engage and keep you engaged constantly. And the easiest way to do that is to shout. Now, I don't like doing that personally, but one of the reasons a video like this has been hard to make is because I don't want to over drown you with technicals. I want it to be entertaining and fun. But while you're watching this, there's going to be a whole sidebar next to this video of other videos of top 10 what engine to pick, the epic game situation is crazy and all this other stuff. And I'm competing with that all the time. And I don't know, man, like, I don't want to, like, on the one hand, if you win that game and can keep people engaged, there's great reward, because a lot of people might see this more than they would on a blog, which is cool. I'm not saying that's bad. It just means that it's a big battle to fight, and I want to choose when I fight that battle. It's not that I don't want to fight it at all. I enjoy that challenge sometimes of, is there a way to make this fun and interesting? Like, that's a cool challenge, but it is not easy to do with such technical things like game development every day, or every week, or however often you post. Especially if it's something as complicated as making an Arc System Works style character, which very few people in the world have done. So it makes it, I don't know, this is part of the reason why I've been taking so long in this video, is because there's just that constant, if this isn't worded right, if this paragraph is too long, if the tone drops off, then that's lost viewers, that's lost revenue, and then, like, you got it, because that's stuff you have to think about, is because, you know, people don't pay to watch these. It's free viewership, it's funded by advertising, so you have to make it, you have to play the game. And I like playing the game sometimes. I don't like playing it as the only option. I don't like it. So that's why I think having an alternative secondary, you know, switching to your secondary, the sidearm, that has less of that pressure on it. I don't know. It seems like something for the long term that would be a good investment of my time to do. So, anyway, so I keep going off too long. I'm talking over you guys probably, but Military says it makes perfect sense. Oh, thank you. Well, I'm glad it makes sense to some people. Oh, that's great. Lucas says, I think good editing can really help by grabbing attention for a subject, even if it's complicated. True, but good editing is expensive. Good editing is, and I know because I have to do a lot of it, good editing is a double-edged sword. So I've tried to do some real good edits here with this, but good editing is hard to do when you have an hour. 'Cause look at all the bits I haven't had time to do yet. Look at all the gaps that need editing. Like, that's, if it's a 10-minute video, it's easy. If it's an hour, it's not. You know? So it's like, yeah, good editing is good if it's like, you're not making big videos. But this is a pretty big one. And that's why it gets kind of difficult when you do stuff like this. Fox8 says, I can't wait to see it. I mean, look, man, thank you. I can't wait till it's finished. Like, honestly, I am really sick of looking at this, and I really want to put it out, but it has to be good. Like, it has to not be a crap video, and it has to be, I'm still trying to work out as well. Like, there's a lot of things beyond the technicals that I'm trying to work out how to explain. And, like, I guess just some brief thoughts on the video, because I am kind of frustrated it's taken so long, but part of it is because I don't quite know how to word it yet, but this video is, to me, more about character modeling, because I don't want to make one of these top 10 how to make Blender characters. It's not meant to be a tutorial, because tutorials age, and tutorials lose value over time because, you know, a new version of Blender comes out or something. That's not the intention of this video. The thing is, when I was making Gabi, I know some people are going to find the technicals kind of interesting, and that's cool, but the thing that has been hard to put into words, that's taking me like an hour to explain in this video, is that making Gabi this way and being super, like, meticulous about it and doing it in this style changed my life. And I haven't quite worked out how to explain it yet, but it was such a profound experience that I don't know how to explain, but it's an adventure and it's a journey, and that's what the video is about. It's meant to be about the adventure of going from where we were in the last video, or is pretty demoralized, to making a model that looked like this, and also doing it constantly worrying that people are going to click off, you know? So it's like you have to do it while being entertaining, while telling this like very big technical journey, and also trying to communicate to me what's special about it, which isn't really about the technicals. It's about the experience, which is hard to pass on unless you've also unless you've been through this as well. What I'm trying to do with this video is put you through that experience so that you don't have to spend 6 months to figure out why it's valuable. That's what I want to do in this, because it just changed my life a lot. It changed the way I think about everything. And I don't know even how to word it. Like, that's why it's so complicated, because it's so, and it goes beyond like most, here's how to model in 3D type stuff, where it's very clinical and impersonal and technical. Because I have made a video like that before, and it wasn't fun to make, and people didn't want to watch it anyway, so there's that. So yeah. I'll read some other messages here. Rosewater says, I don't love, oh no, I've read that one already. Managing a large one seems like hell. Yeah, it does. K1 says, once the video is out, I know it's going to be a banger. I hope so too, man. Well, the thing is as well, the other weird thing with YouTube is that when you do something like this, there's also that pressure that it has to do well, right? And because blogs, I don't know, most blogs I see, they don't show you how many views they get. They don't show you that stuff. And I think it creates less pressure. But when you have a video and it's like, all right, well, I'm expecting this to get like 100,000 views or something. All of a sudden, it becomes like hell to work on, because everything has to be good enough for 100,000 people to find entertaining and not click off and watch Mr. Beast. And when you have a small channel, it's actually less stressful. I actually enjoyed making videos more when it was smaller, but the videos were worse. That's the thing. So to make it good, you know, you have to kind of sacrifice your enjoyment a bit. So yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be a banger, but you never know. What if it only gets 100 views? Wouldn't that be funny? That'd be so funny, wouldn't it? So that's why I really do appreciate the people that have been patiently waiting on Patreon for this, because the real stressful thing is that if you rely only on ad revenue, that becomes a big problem. So I really do appreciate the people that help subsidize and fund these. I know that I've been saying for ages I got to have a preview of this for the early access people soon, and I'm just still trying to work out the wording. It's not ready to show yet, but I will get to that. Once I sort out what I want to do with the website, I'll be working. I'm doing both at the same time, so I'm working towards it. There is another video I'm also working on, because a lot of the thoughts I've just talked about with you guys here on stream, I recorded a video the other day with some of those thoughts in it about the guy that asked maybe an hour ago about how to start game development. I had a bunch of thoughts about that as well that I've put into another video that's way cheaper of a video. This one is only taken like a few hours to do, because I want to have something up like in the next few days. And I know that people have been waiting way too long for this one. So I have started working on a less expensive video as well, just to have out in the meantime, that goes through a condensed version of a lot of the stuff I've been saying on the stream. So I've been working on that, on this, and on the web design all in the last week, just concurrently. So, but I want to get all that and then start closing the gap, and then I'll get back to working on the level, because I know that there is a lot I want to say about the game level, the new laboratory and all that stuff. But I know that if I wait too long, if I don't catch the gap, I'm going to get way too far ahead, and then the stuff I've all been talking about level design, I'm going to not be interested in it by the time I get to making the video. So I'm trying to close that gap as quick as I can. So that's sort of what's in this last couple weeks. That's what I've been cooking. That's what I've been up to, for those wondering. Fox, oh, interesting. There's some interesting thoughts here. Fox8 says, I don't like tutorials so much anymore. I mean, yeah, like, honestly, I haven't watched a tutorial in a long time myself, weirdly enough. And a lot of the information, even with Gabi's model, this kind of has to do with this video as well. I couldn't achieve this if I had only relied on tutorials. I had to do a lot of playing around, if that makes sense. Which, I don't know, you don't get if you're guardrailed on tutorials. It doesn't happen. So that's why, I don't know, I don't really like tutorials that much personally myself either, for that reason. And they also, man, I wish people could still watch the tutorial series I started with, because that was actually well done. But it's like 15 years out of date, and it has no value anymore, unfortunately. But the actual series, I'm going to link it for you guys that are that curious, because I showed this a little bit ago, but for those that didn't see it. Because there are, I don't know, this specific one I thought was good, because it felt, I don't, like, this is the one tutorial series I actually like, but it's kind of not valuable anymore. But there's something about the way people used to make tutorials that feels really different. I don't know if it's just me that's noticed, but tutorials today feel impersonal, kind of in the same way as most of the internet does now. And also, I'm just going to link this in chat, because this is a cool time capsule for those that are curious in what learning game dev used to be like. But there's also a degree to which the format, because these were much lower production value, they were way less edited, they were much more casual. And I've noticed that it felt like being in an after-school class. It felt like I was watching my big brother Ephraim here telling me how to download. Like this literal first video is literally just him showing you how to download Unity and showing you the default scene and teaching you the controls. And they didn't have these slide transitions everywhere. They didn't have all this whatever. They didn't have they didn't bombard you with, well, and now when we're going to start coding, you can do 3 languages. You can do C. Like they didn't, no, they just went, all right, now we're going to try and get the camera to move, and we're going to open, and the thing is, they made a lot of probably what most people would call wrong choices. You know, they used JavaScript instead of C, whatever. But if you're beginning, it doesn't matter. Like, I started on JavaScript and I'm fine. Okay, I didn't, like, it's, if you can learn one, you can learn them all. And it's like, it was, the point is that it was simple. And you weren't constantly anxious about making the wrong choice. So I don't know, that's a whole, that's just, I don't know. That's just something I've noticed. So I'll link it there. It's good if you guys want to learn Unity 2.6, then it's a great resource. You know, if you could even still download that. Kaya says Tornado Twins. You remember them too, man. Oh, that's sick. I don't think anyone knows who they are anymore, sadly. Unfortunately, oh man, because they haven't uploaded in a long time, and there's a really dark reason for that. Because, like, that's who I grew up watching. But then one of them molested a child eventually. So that became kind of tragic and unfortunate. But the other guy, Ephraim, I think he was the other, because they were twins. Ephraim was the guy doing most of the technical stuff. I don't think he got convicted. I think there was a whole case. This was years ago now, I remember. Yeah, he was like convicted and everything. They went through the whole trial. It was pretty, it was whack. And that taught me an important lesson too about trusting people on the internet, because you never know. Because I used to try and I messaged these guys a lot and I asked them for help. And I kind of, you know, it's like, because I was like, 14? And I was thinking, these guys are my friends. They're going to teach me game development. And then I realized, then I found out what happened. And I was like, well, I'm glad I didn't live in California in their area, because they were very involved in with children in the community or whatever. And it taught me that people aren't always who they appear to be, right? So I guess I learnt a lot of valuable things from the twins, even dark lessons like that. So I don't know. That was a dark tangent. Sorry, but yeah, it's interesting because most people probably haven't heard of them. So that's cool, Kais. You're a Tornado Twins OG. But yeah. Sorry, that went from 0 to 100 real quick. That's right. Yeah, that Kitty Dragon. That's right. It's the bad thing about being parasocial, indeed. And I think that's kind of the reasons I like blogs, to bring it full circle to websites like this. Because I don't, some of you maybe have noticed, I don't DM people. I don't have my DMs open. I like talking in public like this. I will talk and chat like this with you. I will answer emails from time to time if I have time to, and if it's important. But a lot of the time, because these guys, they'd be on Instagram and they'd be messaging, and anyone that messaged them, they'd reply immediately. And I don't tend to do that usually because I've noticed with formats like forums and stuff, if there's just a comment section, I like that because it's out in the open. And there isn't like you don't have a vector of attack to take advantage of someone as easily. So that's that's why with Discord, and that to bring it back with Discord and stuff, because even with the scam that was going around with my game, the reason that was even possible is because of Discord. Because you can go to my server right now and you can get a bot or something to get all the members that are there, and you can message them privately one at a time and scam them. But you can't do that in a blog. You can't do, like, in these older formats, that's not possible. But with Discord, you can just private message people and steal their credit card information or like groom them or whatever. You can do that, and that can happen all under my watch. So thanks to the people that were telling me that was happening, because otherwise I would have no way of knowing. So some of you guys that messaged me about it are really the real ones, because otherwise I wouldn't have even known that was going on. Because, so that's another thing as well that Discord allows for, and these sorts of sites where you have private access to people and stuff. Like, I don't know, man. I just don't think it's a boundary I don't like crossing. So I don't like things that have DMs and stuff on them. So that's why with blogs, I like it because it's out in the open. With live chat, it's out in the open. You literally can't be shady. Like, you can't do it because you're either going to get laughed at or you ruin your own reputation. And I think that's a good deterrent from bad actors. And I like that. So I know that there are probably people that want to message me about stuff. And I'm sorry if that's a big letdown, but that's part of the reason, because I don't want to end up like these dudes that do these tutorial type people. I don't know. Like I don't know, man. It's just, I don't like that boundary. So anyway, how are we doing for time? Oh, I'm actually a little... Okay, we've been going for a bit shorter than I thought. But that's kind of all I had. I don't know. Any closing thoughts, guys? What do you guys reckon of all I've talked about? I'll take a moment to read some of what you have to say. And then I'll have to get going. Marl says, I click on a lot of game Discords just for the notifications. A lot of people do that with mine too. Yeah, so like for me, I think it's useful for that. Like I use it to tell people when I'm live. And it's good to post news because people will see it. That's personally all I use Discord for as a user. I like message people I know personally, family and friends, notifications for certain things. Well, the thing is that there is a thing that exists for that already that isn't Discord. It's called an RSS feed or an email list. And it's really... Oh, man, do I want to get into this? You know what I really hate, man? Subscribing... like on YouTube, doesn't do anything anymore. Have any of you noticed that? Is it just me that's noticed that? Because the thing is, some of you might be here right now because you saw the Discord pop saying, I'm now live or whatever, and that's why you're here. But that's what subscribing is supposed to do. But I bet none of you got an actual notification from YouTube. Be honest. I bet none of you did. And it's like, well, what's the point of the subscribe button? I feel like the subscribe button has been greatly devalued. I don't know if it's just me that's noticed that. And that's kind of demoralizing, because then what happens is I could work on a video like this for like 2 months, and I post it, and half of you don't even know it exists. You've hit subscribe specifically because you want to see me post stuff, and YouTube won't show it to you because it doesn't fit, look, you're subscribed to the channel, but when he posted this video, it didn't get 1 million views in the first minute, and the viewer retention was only 60%, so we don't think you're going to like this, even though you subscribed. Like, that's the logic of YouTube, right? So, you know what this will happen, okay? I'm not making this up. This will happen. When I post this, when it's done, half of you won't know. You won't know. Even if you're here saying, oh, when this comes out, it's going to be a banger, you will constantly... Unless, I don't know, if you are only relying on YouTube, you will not know. Half of you will not know when this comes out. And you'll still be sitting there going, oh, I wonder if Ray's posted that video. And you might find it by chance. But you will not be told about it. And, I mean, Discord is kind of useful for that. Because I don't know, for whatever reason, Discord as a RSS feed seems to work, even though that's not what it's meant for. Or what subscribing is meant to be for. But that's right. Like, that's the thing, is that I don't want to just use it just because it's like a glorified sub box. That's kind of what YouTube should already be doing. I don't know. It's just me that's noticed that. I don't know. I just feel like, because I've subscribed to a few people and I never get told about when they upload stuff. All I see is Asmongold, the Nintendo situation is crazy. I'm not even subscribed to Asmongold. And it's like, I'm subscribed to like 10 other people. Why am I not seeing what? And yeah, that's just... You can tell I'm very angry about this. But yeah. Kaya says YouTube could really use something like Twitter lists where you can clean up categories. Actually, I never thought to do... Yeah, that might be a good idea, actually. Cybercell says, yeah, I probably won't be told. You did get a live notification? Oh, that's fantastic. You're the exception, Cybercell. You're the real one. But, you know, because Discord is a huge thing to set up. I remember when I started it, I'd just been ages setting it up. And I'm basically using it mainly as a subscription feed for you to know when I've posted something. And it's like, you know what I would prefer? Because like when I look at some of these old sites, what was that blog we were looking at? Like this dude. Like whatever this website is, does this have some kind of thing where I can get notified when he posts stuff? I don't know. Because I know a lot of these old websites, they have these like RSS feeds. And the thing is, I didn't use RSS. I was too young to use RSS. I missed out on the RSS thing. But I only just found out that RSS was a thing like a month ago. And I realized, oh, that's actually what I've wanted to have this whole time. Like, let's look at this website. Does this have an RSS? I don't know. Maybe a lot of these websites don't have them. But I've noticed that a lot of like old blogs this one looks like it has it. I thought I saw an icon. It has the orange icon, Wi-Fi icon. That's how you know. Or they have a newsletter. So I've added a newsletter to my website recently as well, because that seems like kind of a less high. It's a lower maintenance version of what I'm using Discord for, basically, and that seems better. That way, I get direct access instead of having to go through Discord or something. Because you know what's funny is that if you are on Discord and you are on another server and your account gets flagged or whatever, you've now lost all your servers. Or whatever, and you can get, you know, which can't happen in an environment like this. So it's like that's something as well that I would prefer having than a YouTube homepage. Like I've been trying to collect and figure out how to use RSS for myself, because there's maybe like 5 people I'm interested in following that I would actually that I want to only follow than no one else. I'm very selective, and that's what I would prefer. Where I don't want to be in the New York City equivalent of just constant whatever. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't even know who this is, but this sort of stuff looks less overstimulating to follow and easier to follow, if that makes sense. And I would want to do something like that personally. It sounds cooler. Holdsworth says, I manually check the bell and I have to use Pocket to save the videos. I've never heard of Pocket. Is that some kind of like watch? Because I know YouTube has a watch later thing. Is Pocket like I don't know, is that a similar kind of thing? I have to use Pocket to save the videos I want to add to a watch list, since you can't put it there from YouTube watch later. Oh, you can't do that with... Oh my god. Are you serious? You actually can't add... I had no idea you couldn't do that on YouTube. That's crazy. You can't add a video from the notification box to watch later. That's insane. Sorry, that just hit me like a ton of bricks. Military says, what's funny is that this entire stream has been saying exactly what I've been thinking about for a long time, but I could never put into words. Oh, thank you. Good to know I'm not alone. Well, thanks so much, man. Look, because like... Some of you might be sitting here and you're just like, oh, just shut up and put the game in the bag or whatever. The thing is, all of this stuff is super important to me because the internet is a big part of everyone's life, okay? We can't deny that. It's a big part of my life in particular because my game and what I do online is interwoven. The fate is twain, you could say. Without the internet, Project Feline couldn't get made. It wouldn't exist. So I spend a lot of my free... Like, when I'm working and stuff, I don't know what most game developers think about. I don't know. Like, I've got the bugs and the technicals and, like, oh, Blender's being annoying. Like, I think that stuff. But when I'm working, a lot of the time, I'm thinking about bigger picture things like this, about what I like and dislike, stuff about the internet, whatever. And that's, as a YouTuber, you could say, I think about the internet a lot because I have to rely on it. And I think there's a degree to which it's a good thing to think about, because like the fate of my presence online and the game's presence online is interwoven directly with the product itself. They're not separate things. So I think it's important. And without our connection here, there would be a lot that would be different about Project Feline. And it probably wouldn't even exist at all, right? So there's that. And I'm just trying to figure out, because I've had the beginning of a thought like this, and to bring it back to what you were talking about, I know I'm straying a bit, but it's like, this is the stuff I think about a lot, right? And I've lost my train of thought, sorry. Sorry, but I appreciate you saying that. It's just that, I don't know, it feels like, I've lost my train of thought. See, my brain has been rotted. It's all the brain rot. See, I can't think clearly anymore. It's all this brain rot. God, I've lost my train of thought. Sorry. I was going to say something really profound about what you said, but I've lost the thought. But God, I had something I was going to say, but I can't. Sorry. It's just, I hate when I lose my train of thought. It happens rarely. And when it does, I get so annoyed. God, sorry, it's going to keep bothering me now. I'll move on to another message and it might come back to me. Marwell says, all true points, wish RSS was more relevant again, so blogs would be more popular. Yeah, I agree. Now, the thing is, I think up until recently, I would think that stuff and be like, oh... but I would think that and go, oh, well, that's ever going to happen. That's what I would think to myself. But I went, wait a minute. If I actually started taking action... maybe that can be a thing. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's actually a terrible idea. Maybe it's a big waste of time. But it certainly won't be popular again if no one puts in any effort. If no one has any faith in that, then it definitely won't be the future. You know, actually, I think that's the train of thought I had lost. Because I think about the future, and I think about... when Feline's done or whatever, what comes after that? What is next? Because ultimately, I have another project I want to do, and I would probably do the same thing again where I start some kind of series on the next thing. And I think, well, the next journey I do, the next voyage, if you want to call it, what would I change? What things would I adjust to make it less uncomfortable, or what would I change based on my experience doing my devlog? And I think part of it is just, I don't know, all the incentives and everything I was talking about, that I would make it so that I'm chafing less against the incentives of the platform. And there was more to that, though. I can't remember. There's more to it than that. But I think being a creator, you can't divorce that from an online presence anymore. You can't do it. I think that's what I was trying to say earlier. It's that the reason I spend time thinking about this and not thinking about top 10 game engines to use in 2025, which seems to be what everyone else is thinking about for whatever reason. The reason I'm thinking about stuff like this instead is because I think if you want to do anything without having to play the traditional game and play with publishers or whatever, if you want to be indie, I think your online presence is interwoven with your work, and the medium affects the outcome. And I don't know how to word it. I don't know. God, I've had too much coffee. That's probably why. But it's like the medium affects the message. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain it, but I know that the medium affects the message. It affects the actual outcome. And there's a whole other thing where, because I've felt this pressure, maybe some of you guys will also... Oh, thanks so much, Nutbill, for the 20,000
Eat a Snickers
IDR.
or not herself when are not hungry.
True, I don't have any Snickers on hand right now. Well, hey, what currency is that, by the way? I'm not familiar with that. IDR to, how much Australian dollars is that? That's 200,000 IDR is let's do the calculations. Thanks so much for the support. That's $1.91 Australian. So actually I could buy a Snickers with that. So thank you. Hopefully, unless grocery prices have gone up again, in which case I'll have to save up 2 super chats to get a Snickers. But thanks so much, Nabil. But I think here's something else. This is part of this video I'm also doing about. Might as well bring it up while we're here. So this video I'm working on, that's like my third, it's in the third slot. This is in my third weapon slot right now of stuff I'm cooking on the stove. This video is sort of going into some of these ideas about how the internet in general has affected game development, the process, which in turn affects the product. I think there is a causal relationship there. And I think I said at the start of the stream that everyone has the sentiment that games 20 years ago were like way better than the stuff now. That's not an accident. That isn't just chance. I think a big reason for that is because of the way the internet has changed and has been put into people's work. This is why I think about it, because it affects me and it affects Gabi and it affects Project Feline. That's what I was trying to say earlier. That's why I think about it, because it actually affects everything. It affects the game. Everyone thinks this stuff doesn't matter, but it affects the game. The reason it affects the game is because you look at legendary developers like John Carmack, John Romero, what's the guy from Halo? Marty O'Donnell, Jason Jones. You think about those people. You notice a trend. You notice a pattern with all of them, how they weren't on Discord. You ever noticed that? You ever notice that none of them were doing the stuff that most of us do? Because I look at YouTube and I get the impression that most game developers or hobbyists or whatever are kind of socializing too much and not working. And that's like the idea of the official Blender Discord being 100,000 members to me, or more. I don't know how big it is, but that to me, I don't understand why it needs to be that big. And I'm thinking, well, all of the people that made really good games back then weren't doing that. Why? Well, firstly, it wasn't that popular. But also, if they had been, would Halo exist? Would Doom exist? And I don't think so. Because the other thing is this will be the last little point we do, because this actually goes back to the start of the stream. This to bring it full circle to the guy that's asking, how do I get started making games? I think, look, I was not really alive. I wasn't alive in the 80s or the early 90s, but I have the impression that people back then didn't ask those questions because you couldn't. Because you didn't have Discord, you didn't have forums, you had bulletins. Maybe that's the best you had. But most of the time, if you wanted to do it, you had to go out and buy a book on software and just teach yourself using a Commodore 64. Every person I have heard of that I respect has done it that way. They oh, thanks so much, Tomok, for the 10.
Back in the day, it was an effort to add people on your Skype groups.
Yeah. Now, I haven't really used Skype. But that degree of effort, that does something, doesn't it? It creates an equilibrium, and it makes you a lot more selective about who you talk to, doesn't it? I'd imagine. I don't know. I didn't really use Skype. I literally went from not using anything besides Instagram Messenger to Discord. I didn't use. I missed out on Skype. But I do remember the friends I had that used it. You know, it would take a lot more effort to cultivate and maintain those, and it was more selective. And the area I'm talking about before Skype even, it was even harder. And I think the degree of effort made a boiling pot for better quality products, if that makes sense. Because people weren't easier to talk to, the only people you could talk to, you had limited opportunities and limited people. And isn't it interesting how a lot of all the stuff I've been doing with levels and stuff has kind of had the same pattern of limits and realizing how important they are. And I've noticed that it applies socially too. And that's why I don't like Discord, because there are no limits. You could have 100,000 people and you could talk to them all the time. There's no limits. And I think that's bad, because I think what ends up happening is, because it's so convenient, you raise a generation of people that are kind of conditioned to be in the Discord pool, the gene pool of Discord, in the primordial Discord soup, so to speak, all the time. And their go-to way of solving problems is, help me, I need help. Whereas in 1994, I'd imagine, your way of doing it was, well, I got to whip out the old book. I got to be like Gandalf looking through all the papers and making the connections myself. And those people built really cool things. Like, that's what, imagine being John Romero making like coming up with the idea for BSP. I don't think anyone that spends all day on Discord is doing that. I know that sounds mean, but I'm just being honest. Like, most people don't want to do that, and that's fine. It's whatever. But I'm saying if you want to do that, then that's going to be a problem. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. Don't put any stock into what I'm saying. It won't apply to you. But if you're trying to do something on that level or whatever, which I'm not saying that's what I'm trying to do, but building a game is pretty hard. Oh, thanks, Snuff. Thanks so much, Snuffbill, for the.
Here another if you want to buy Snick.
Thanks so much, dude. I will do that. After I head off, I'm gonna head straight up. I'm gonna get myself a Snickers, and it'd be so funny. Wouldn't it be funny if I took a bite of a Snickers and then all of those thoughts went away, and then my personality completely changed? That'd be so funny, because I haven't had a Snickers in a long time, and I noticed that I started having all of these thoughts when I stopped eating Snickers. So maybe I'm not myself. Maybe I am. Maybe that says something. But thanks so much, man. But what was I saying? I can't remember. Well, yeah, I just have a hunch that the people making these cool games that we grew up with that are still cool, like Doom, like Ratchet and Clank 1, all of these great games, they weren't made by people socializing all the time. And I don't think that's an accident. And they were the generation of bloggers and forums. And you notice how they got a lot more cool stuff done. You notice how their games had a lot more soul, and their games aged much more gracefully. And I don't think, because I think about it, why isn't everyone doing that all the time? It seems like it was happening all the time in 1994. Why isn't that happening all the time anymore? I think it's because a lot of people get sucked into top 10 game dev tips 2025 and they binge watch 10 of those videos. And the reason why people didn't do that in 1996 is because you literally couldn't. You had nothing else to do but to suffer and work through the hard problems the hard way. But that hardness forged these people into the legends they became. And I don't know, man. I think when we don't put limits and barriers to protect ourselves from things like Discord, man, I just think you get sucked into a vortex. And I felt that happen. That's why, this might sound mean and judgmental. I'm not trying to pass judgment. Is that's happened to me, and that's how I know. Is because I felt myself being pulled by the void. And that's why I'm not really on there much anymore. I used to be on there a lot. 5 years ago, I used to be on it a lot, and that's how I know. Because when I was on it, that's how I felt, and it was like, oh, it's very socially validating, but I've noticed I'm not getting much done. And I noticed it isn't just that you get not much done, but you get, you are way more anxious. I don't know if I'm the only one that's noticed, but I've noticed that when I was posting to Facebook groups and Blender, Discord, or whatever, because most people post there for approval. Don't you notice that? They're posting oh, what do you guys think? And it's when you get into the habit of posting for approval, you become reliant on it. And that makes you a very unconfident person. And maybe that's you. It was me. I know it happened to me. And it's... I think that's part of the reason why games now are so different in quality, is because a lot of the people making them don't cultivate courage because they don't have to. Because going on your own and reading a 5-year-old textbook on your own without people telling you giving you pointers on what to do, if you have to go through the jungle on your own, you become very brave. And if you don't do that, you don't. I've just noticed. So that's why, in short, that's why I don't like running a Discord. to bring it back to the main, I don't know, that's why I don't like it, because this might not be everyone watching me, but I know there's probably people that watch me that are interested in game dev and want to do their own projects, and I think I would be doing a disservice to you by making a community on Discord for you where you can waste your time. I don't know, man. I feel like I would sabotage you, and I would sabotage myself because I'd have to waste all this time moderating it. So I don't think it works. I just don't, because it mentally damages you. Like that's kind of what it's about. There's all the stuff we've talked about with the analytics, the incentives, but ultimately it comes down to the attitude that it gives you. I've just noticed that a lot of it makes everyone so afraid of like, I can't make a wrong choice. I have to post this on the Blender Discord and see what they think first. And I've been there. Okay, it's hell. You don't want to do that. It's just like everyone is so afraid to do the wrong thing, and it's like that's the whole thing behind what game engine to start with. That's kind of where it begins. Is if you're too afraid to pick an engine yourself, you're going to be too afraid to pick anything and make any choice. It snowballs, it compounds, and that's why a lot of games are mediocre. I think it does reflect in the product, if the product ever gets finished, even, because I think a lot of the time, if that lack of bravery leads to the project not getting finished, a lot of the time, as well. I've seen it happen to people where it's like, if they post it and then their thing doesn't get enough comments on Discord, then they decide, oh, well, that's it then. No one likes my thing. I should just give up. And then that happens. Which I don't think John Romero or these other people from 1996, I don't think they ever had those thoughts. They weren't able to. The circumstances didn't allow them to have those thoughts. And I don't know, man. I think the thoughts you have are super important. Anyway, that's probably like the most... that's probably... most I can squeeze out of that topic, I guess. Like, that's just, I don't know. I think that's why I really am bothered by the whole way it is, with the way everything is right now. Kitty Dragon says, attention spans are so short now. Days that creators that are more focused on shooting out a game while it's popular rather than spending time putting passion into leading to so much oversaturation. That as well, actually, that's a great point. And I think because of that, everyone is so afraid, because of all of those factors, people are like afraid to not do the shoot out the game every month strategy. And thanks so much, Tomak, for the 10.
I can understand why you don't like Discord. I for one have a server set up. But I only have the invite link in one spot on my YouTube channel. People just need to find it to get in.
Yeah, that's cool. Thanks so much for the 10. Because look, I'm not trying to say that if you use Discord, you're a bad person. No, that's not what I'm saying. If it works for you, great. That's awesome. If you like running it, and if that's kind of situation you can handle, and if that works for you, that's awesome. And I'm glad that you can do that. I personally, though, I find that my soul won't take it. I don't know. Maybe I'm oversensitive. Maybe I'm soy. I don't know. But I can't. I can't handle it. But that's cool. If you are able to do, because the thing is, even with mine, I actually don't mind it when it's small. So I don't know. Maybe it's similar for you, where it's like there's maybe like 20 people in it. I think when it's that small, it's actually okay. And I found that with the members I have, because I have the paid section and it's a lot smaller of a group. And I'm not saying, like, that is actually fine. I enjoy that. But most of the people in the public chat, there's like a way bigger group of people there. And like when it gets to like 2,000 people, it's too much. But if it's like 20 or 100 people, less than 100 people, I find that there's an equilibrium, and that's more imbalanced the less people, if that makes sense. You have 4 people. Yeah, see, that sounds good. It sounds like you probably would not encounter the problems that I'm noticing if it's only 4 people. And if you know those 4 people well, it's good. What I'm talking about is like when you have the Blender official one where there's like 100,000 people. That's a completely different experience than a 4-person Discord. So I think in small, if you have a limit to it, I think that's good. But it's limitation. And I don't know. The reason why for me it's upsetting is because there isn't a limit. The only limit I can put is like the Patreon member wall, which I don't know. I think if I was to keep it around, because I've actually been thinking about even deleting it, but like the public version at least, I don't really know yet. We'll see if for this blog I'm doing, because I've just got the mock-up for it. If I can end up coding this and having it function and I can update it consistently, maybe I'll pivot to that. And I'll keep the Discord for the Patreon or something. Because I like having it for the Patreon because it's a small group. I just don't like it when there's thousands of people because I can't, like, even for me, it's a personality thing too. I'm not a popular extrovert. I can't handle even 5 people in real life. When I'm in a group, if there's more than 5 people, I actually can't handle it. It's just too overstimulating. So I know that I'm probably a special case there. But even more the reason why I probably shouldn't be managing a public Discord in the first place, you know? So real quick though, before we head off, I'll walk you through the mock-up of this. Maybe you guys can give me some suggestions on how to improve it. And then I'll have to get going. But the layout I've got here, I did this in about an hour, and it was really fun. And what I did was, because I still haven't quite worked out exactly the size and the layout and everything, I know that I want a main area and some sidebars. And what I did, I made the canvas size 1024 by 768, which used to be like the standard resolution of a CRT monitor. Like a high-end CRT monitor. Most, like, from the 90s, it was like 640 by 480. This is like twice or 4 times bigger than that, I think. And it's a 4x3. And you might go, why does that matter? Well, because when you design websites in Wix, I probably should have opened the stream with this, but we'll close on this. So the current website, for instance, on Wix, it doesn't really give you this kind of control. You can like put graphics on and you can make it scroll. I can't control the width of this website though. And then with Squarespace, you have other everything has to be in squares, and it's like too automatic. I want to be extremely deliberate with my thing. So so in my mock-up here, and I have a sense of I'm going to probably try using a lower tech tool to build this out. I've been doing research on that in the background for the last few months anyway. And I've taught myself just basic HTML. So the thing is, I tried doing just random mockups in HTML, but I was so overwhelmed by choices that I didn't make much progress on it. But with Photoshop, because I know how to use it, I just drew it so that I knew it's like, all right, well, when I start coding this in HTML, what am I going to have to do? Because you get so much freedom when you aren't using a website builder. It's insane. But with a lot of freedom comes a lot of decision fatigue. So my way of limiting that is making it in Photoshop first, just to get an idea. So I broke it up into grids, my new favorite hyperfixation, grid systems, which if you haven't, hold on. You guys ready to see this? This is, back in the old days, people used to read these. This is called a book for all you Zoomers. And I've been applying the rules of this to my level. Some of you might have seen in my level design, I've talked about this book and using tools like grid-based BSP systems to make levels. The thing, though, is that these same principles can be used to design anything, like websites, or like type, or posters, or the UI, or thumbnails, or whatever the hell you want. It's actually really neat. I recommend this book hugely. It's a little expensive, but it's worth it. It's actually a well-printed book. It's like bound really well. This was published in the 80s, and that's how you know that it's good, because it's still in print 40 years later. It's not one, and this is the thing that you don't get with YouTube, okay? Imagine if this was a YouTube video. People would watch this for the first week, and then you would never see this again. But books, this is why books are so great. If a book is good, it'll keep being printed let's say the bookstore is the algorithm, and you go to the bookstore, and if a book is that good, it's still going to be in the algorithm at the store because it's valuable. That's, man, and that, I don't, it's cool, okay? So books, I don't watch these top, because this is what you want to not do. You know, to learn design, I've learnt more from reading this than any video that's like top 10 graphic design tips for 2025. No, you just read one good book and you're good. So here's how I've applied that principle. So I broke the grid up into increments, and you'll notice that the grid is not just squares. They're not perfect squares. These are grids of denominations of the 4x3, 248 by whatever. So these each grid space is 4x3. And that's how I decide how to split things up. And I'm like, all right, well, in this grid, I'll turn off all the layers and I'll show you how I started. So when I started, I was like, all right, I've got a blank grid. And I'll turn off the cool pictures. I've got a blank grid. That's all you get. And it's like, all right, how can I divide this up to make what I want? What do I need? I need a content section, and I need some kind of directory. All right, well, how would I do that? And I split it. I'm like, all right, well, I'll do 25% or a third of it as the sidebar, and the other as the main, and then maybe a bit at the top for the header or something. And I don't know, I just picked what felt intuitive. I divided it into fourths and just did that. And then I started adding, I got my little section here. And then I'll have the nav on the side. And I tried some other stuff as well with like floating windows and stuff. Just to experiment. I don't know what I'm going to settle on really. And I was like, all right, well, we've got that now. And then I'll put text in these. I just put random Latin, the classic lorem ipsum. Am I right, guys? And I just did that. I picked out some fonts, and this is where... Okay, so the books. Okay, we got to get back to the books for a second. How expensive? I think this might have been like $80. But man, it is so worth it, dude. Like, I know that a YouTube video is free, but you get what you pay for, okay? Most YouTube videos are junk. Like, no. Just buy a good book, okay? This is what people were doing to design real things, okay? Because this was written in the 80s. In the 80s, people were designing real physical products. And the standard of a real physical product is higher than a disposable YouTube video. So, oh man, I can't even explain to you how good this is, okay? So... And battery's not included. Sorry guys. I know all of you guys are asking, how do I charge it? Where's the LED backlight? How do I put the battery? I'm sorry, but you actually don't need any of that. It's actually so simple that you actually have written words on the paper. It's so cool. But it gives you all these cool principles and examples. And it isn't just example. Like, there's a lot of I don't know if I'm allowed to show it because there's a big blurb at the front that says you can't reproduce the contents of this book. So I don't want to get sued by I don't even know what company it is. But man, Joseph Brockman, he knows his stuff, okay? So there's a bunch of stuff in the book showing you examples, because it's typography. That's what it's about, but the rules of typography apply to everything, okay? You don't have to just do it with typography. And notice how the cover of the book itself is a grid? That's pretty neat. So the cool thing is that websites actually do have typography, and you could just straight up use exactly what the book tells you to do typography. So that's what I did. So if you'll notice that the actual, like, text, like this... You notice how each line of text lines up with the grid? Like the L's are perfectly, like tops of the L's perfectly hit the grid. That's not an accident. I did that on purpose. And it looks sick, doesn't it? Well, one of you said something. We were looking at that website. We were looking at this dude's blog. Because here's the thing, right? There's a thing with these indie websites that, I also thought about, right? Because you look at this stuff, you look at NeoCities and whatever, and it's like, you'll have a instant nostalgia rush. And there's that's cool. But then you start thinking, well, why did we ever leave this? Why did the internet ever change? And the thing is, there is a reason why the internet didn't stay this way. The thing I've been thinking about is, well, how do you stop the natural flow of going back to this without introducing problems that made the internet turn into what it is now? Because there was a reason why people dropped this. Because there are issues with it still. Part of the reason is that a lot of these early websites were designed by amateurs. And look, it's not a value judgment. I'm probably an amateur as well. And the thing is, you get personal expression and stuff, and that's awesome. But one of you at the start of the stream said that this font was too small. And this is the sort of thing you pick up on. This is the sort of mistake you make when you don't read books from the 80s. If you're an 18-year-old who likes math and codes for fun, like this guy. You're not going to be reading books from the 80s about design, and you're going to make mistakes like this. And that's one reason. There's a bunch of others too, but I think that is one reason why things ended up homogenizing into Reddit and YouTube as the only websites in existence, because those websites are designed by people that know how to typeset. And that makes a difference. So how do you avoid that problem? Well, what if you just tried adding like good design to old websites? So you'll notice that my font, if I zoom to 100% size, my font is a lot bigger than the one on this website. And the kerning is much better. And the line width is more comfortable on the eyes. And the font choice is different. Because when you look at this one, it's... And I'm not trying to... Like, look, if this person ends up watching the stream, probably won't. But if you do, man, like, this is a cool website. I think this aesthetically is awesome. But most people doing personal websites, they don't really care about typesetting, because they don't even know. And I'm not saying that makes you bad, it's just that you don't know, and that's fine. But if for me, because I've been reading through this book and I'm starting to pick up on this, and it's like, well, can I implement these rules without people noticing and having it still look kind of charming? Because that's the thing, is that these old sites are charming, even if the contrast might not be what a professional might do, even if the typesetting isn't right or whatever. Even whatever, you get charm. But I think the reason why the internet pivoted away from this is because charm started to wear off. And I think there is an equilibrium between charm and design. You can reach that equilibrium somehow, and that's what I'm trying to do. Oh, thanks, Tomark, for the 10 once again.
For all you Zoomers. Back in the 80s was just coming out of its military-only phase and normal people could get on it. And thus we got Angel Fire sites.
Oh, I've heard of Angel Fire. I have no idea what it is, though. You got me so curious now. Thanks for the 10. I've seen the logo. This is a sick logo, but I've got no... What's Angel Fire? See, this was a bit before my time. This is showing my age here. I know everyone thinks I'm a boomer, but I'm actually a zoomer. Isn't that crazy? So what... Was this some kind of, like... Is this still a thing? Oh, you guys are gonna have to educate me. My name indie website is horrid. The font you have for the default forum text could feasibly be used as text in game. Yes, Cosmic. That's precisely what I was thinking too. Okay, well this is obviously not Angel Fire, or is it? I don't know. Okay, so, chat help. I don't know what Angel Fire is. Someone help me. What's Angel Fire? I've seen the logo, and the logo looks cool, and I don't know what it is, though. I feel like I have to know what it is to get this reference. Sorry, I've lost you. Where's YouTube chat? I've lost you. Oh, wait. Are you guys in this? I've got too many windows open. Hold on, I've lost you guys. Where's you? Oh, I found you. Oh, no, I lost you again. Zoomers cosplaying. I hope. I'm just a bee zoomer. What does that mean? Is that some kind of slang insult? It's the opposite of demon water. I don't know what that is either. Okay, you guys are using too many millennial references. The logo is cool though. Okay, we'll have to delve another time because I gotta get going soonish, but I want to finish giving you a tour of my mock-up. But yeah, so what I was saying, I want to reach an equilibrium between the charm of personal websites and like actually having it designed for the right reasons. Not just picking Sci 12 font because it's the default, actually being intentional about it. Because I think that's the way you stop this going out of style, is to stick to the fundamentals, which a lot of personal websites didn't do, which is probably why they fell off, I'd imagine. So stuff like this is cool, theming, colors, cool, but this text is hard to read. The color is white on black on the outline, on the gradient. It's hard to read. The kerning, hard to read. And that's the stuff this is what these books get you thinking about, right? And the reason why this is important is because this is the standards people use to write like newspapers and books. You know, typesetting, man. Do I want to get into this? Well, typesetting, like when you buy a book, there is actually so much that goes into typesetting it. Not even the writing of the book. If you pick up like some, like, I don't know, some fictional novel, whatever people buy now. If you buy Dune, there is actually a guy whose job it is that lines the text up to look right on every page. That's an actual job, and it's really freaking cool. So I'm not an expert at it, but I've tried. So how do you make it readable? How do you make it not have this problem that indie websites had back then when everyone didn't know how to typeset because they just used the default 12-point Times New Roman? Well, you get around that by grids and thinking about... There's like, in this book, they have rules about like, what is too condensed, what is too long, how wide paragraphs should be, and what impression that gives off. And it's really interesting. So what I've tried to do here is I've made the font big enough to have the paragraphs be a certain width. So I've chosen size 16 font instead of size 12. And I've chosen a specific line spacing. I've chosen size 24 points line spacing so that it lines up so that each new grid, the text is there. And that solves a problem of a lot of these older indie websites where you don't have to zoom in on the text and stuff. Like this, you could read zoomed out like this. And you could just, and it's like clear and readable and it's comfortable and your eyes don't wander off. Another mistake people will make too is that they'll look at this and they'll justify it like this. Now the thing is, books do this, it's cool when you have it justified like that, when it's all lined up in a square. But here's the thing I picked up on that's really cool is that if there actually is a right way to do this and you have to like manually adjust it, because if you rely too much on this method of like this or something, you end up getting the gaps between the words being too big, and these are called rivers. And if you have rivers in a paragraph, your eye will have difficulty tracking where you are, and your eye will fall through the river. And you ever have that moment when you're reading something, like on a blog or a website, and you read it and you forget what line you're on? Like you read to the edge, and then you're like, oh, what line was I on? And you have to like use your finger. When you have bad typesetting, that's what happens. But if you have good typesetting, that's why they always recommend, in this book they recommend it, and in every guide I've seen on how to submit manuscripts to publishers, don't ask how I know that, but I've noticed that they all say just justify left, unless you want to go through the effort of manually cutting it. I don't even know how you would do that, but they all say just justify left, you won't have rivers, and just pick sensible widths, pick a sensible font size. And pick a sensible font, because the other problem is that you get, when you have something like defont.com and you have a million cool fonts, people generally have bad taste and pick fonts that aren't easy on the eyes. They pick something, because I have a lot of fonts, this is how I know. I've downloaded a lot of fonts. And it's like, if I made everything this font, well, you can see it. You look at it and you go, oh, whoa there. That's a lot of, wow. You know how we were talking the other stream about cars that leave feature impressions? This is the same idea, okay? So that's why I've only chosen stylish fonts for headers. So I've picked this one called Venus Rising for the title and for these little bits. And then I've picked just Chivo. Just something that looks kind of modern but easily readable for the body. You don't need a complicated font for that. So that's what I've done. And then that's kind of where I started. And then I just added cool like chrome borders and added some chamfered edges just to play around with the styling a bit. And then I just used Gabi's like background to create like this background. And that's all I've kind of done really for it. So the reason I did it in Photoshop first is because like hopefully what I want to work on next with this thing is that once I know what I need, I can make my CSS style sheet and I know exactly what I need and why. And I can just add a background image, add the header, and then pick the fonts and thing. And like, I know how to make boxes and layouts in HTML and CSS. It's just what to make is the question. That's where I was getting stuck. So I think this mock-up gives me like a clear, okay, now I know what to make, I know what not to make, and I just need to code the thing, and it should be pretty simple, I'm hoping. So, I don't know, because the thing is, I think this could look better, and I don't know what, like, I don't know, I have a sense that this could look cooler. I don't know if you guys any ideas you might think to do. I'm open to suggestions. I don't know. Maybe the font isn't that readable. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. You guys let me know how you think. Cybershell says you might like the Google font by Jim Parry. I don't know. Let's have a look. Or create a display. Let's have a look at those. Let's shop around. Let's have a look. Let's open a tab. Google Fonts. And what was the other? Create a display. Ooh. Very nice. Ooh. This looks like Helvetica. And this looks like Eurostyle, but slightly different. Oh, you know what? I have seen this font before. I recognize, I don't know where, but I have seen this font. But yeah, it does sit pretty nice on the eyes, doesn't it? You know? It sits pretty good on the eyes. Yeah, this is cool. I might try it on with the mock-up. This one feels a bit... I wouldn't use this on Project Feline, but this looks like a good standard font for like subtitles or something. This does look pretty neat. Recommend Poppins and Monster. Oh, I've got Mosterat. I don't know. I personally don't like Mosterat because I just see it used so much. And I don't know, because there was a guy I knew that would use Mosterat for everything, and I don't like that guy. And I think that just because I don't like him specifically, I just don't like his font, the fonts he picks. So it's probably a weird reason, but yeah, I don't know. Mosterat's not really my jam. It feels too friendly. Mosterat is a very friendly font. It's the font I would use if I was making an Android game. If I was making my own version of Flappy Birds, I would use Mosterat, I think. But not for, I don't know, for my purposes, maybe not. Controversial suggestion, Sakugo Pro. I don't know that one. Man, thanks for the suggestions. You guys know some cool fonts. Oh, it's a Fontworks font. Let's go, baby. Oh, yeah. I wish I could afford these, dude, man. I don't like, okay, real quick tangent. Okay, I know I said I was gonna go, but this is important. Japan they make the coolest fonts, dude, but they're so expensive. A Fontworks license costs like $500, but these are so cool. Oh my god. Can I type in sample text? Yeah. The Japanese, they know how to design a font. So I've gone down the rabbit hole personally on the Fontworks offerings. Every game console, the PlayStation, the Wii, every Japanese game, they all get their fonts from Fontworks, and they're amazing. But they also cost a lot of money. So someday, when I make $1 million, when I become a rich indie dev millionaire, maybe I can afford some cool fonts. But yeah, that's a good choice, though. I just wish that they weren't $500. I mean, there's probably a reason, though. Like, honestly, I would want to be in a position where I could pay this much for a font. Because I want to reward good craftsmanship like this. Because the people that... designing a font is hard. And I know because a lot of fonts look bad. So it's like... people don't give enough credit to people that design fonts. This is actually hard to design good fonts. So I want to pay for good fonts one day and like reward those people that create cool fonts. But someday, when I am financially sustainable and I can afford more than 2 Snickers, I'll do it. But thanks for the suggestion, man. I'm glad you got some good taste in chat. We've got some Fontworks. People know the Japanese Fontworks. That's sick. They're a good go for a lot of websites, kind of like Helvetica, but I feel they can be really good on a lot of... yeah, like they're... even, like, dude, see, you're thinking like people in the 80s do, because that's exactly what Joseph says. Joseph says, just pick the classics. I'll see if I can find the page where he tells you. He's like, pick... I'm trying to find it. There was a bit in here where he tells you how, like, don't overpick font. And he literally has an entire 10 pages. He's like, if you're doing anything, just pick Garamond or Calson or Baskerville or Clarendon or Times or Helvetica or whatever. He's like, here are 6 fonts, just pick those. And that's the ones he'll tell you to pick. Now, remember, this book was from the 80s. And these fonts that I've just listed, you guys have probably heard of. You guys have probably heard of Berthold and Times and Clarendon and Carlson and Baskerville and Garamond, and they're still being used. So that's how you know that those are good. Garamond, personally, is one of my favorites. I really like Garamond. But, okay, this turned into a... Maybe I should do a whole video on fonts one day, man. But, fonts, dude. Now, I know there's probably some of you looking at this. You've listened to me talk for like 2 hours about web design and fonts and all this crap. And you're probably thinking, what does that have to do with games? Whatever. Because I know that there are people out there that only want me to talk about game development and programming or whatever. This all matters because, you know, font choice, typesetting, all this stuff, man. It matters because this is part of the product. One of you just said, this is stuff you could apply to the menus. Yes, absolutely, which is in the game. And my menus kind of suck right now, if you've noticed. My UI sucks. And if it sucks, that's important. Remember how we were talking about first impressions the other week? The first impression people make is a visual one. This is what people with car design talked about, right? And it matters in games too, and it matters... The thing is with a game is that... The thing is, the difference between a car and a game is that with a car, you can do all that stuff to the car and you just put the car at the dealership and people see the car. With games, there isn't a game dealership. You don't get it. You don't get that. What you do get is maybe a landing page for the game, which is a website usually, or a trailer, or what have you. And people don't walk by the game and see the game. They have to pass through filters to see the game. They have to pass through the website. They have to pass through a post on Twitter. They have to go through a portal first to see the actual product. Whereas at a car, if you go to like the BMW, the Volkswagen, you just literally see the cars there, okay? You don't have to be shown a trailer for the car, right? So that kind of changes the medium a bit. So the vector of attack that game developers have is these sorts of things, like websites, their web presence, everything. That's why for me it's important, because, like, you know, if you don't have something like this set up, if you don't, like, because this will apply to the menus, it might apply to the start screen, and it'll apply to the Steam page, it'll apply to any content I put out, and it's like, if you don't nail that stuff, people are not even going to catch a glimpse of your thing in the first place. And so what I want to do personally is eventually, when my vision for this idea of making this type of site is that if I can use my devlogs and my Twitter to drive things to it, and you're so impressed by the website, not because of how complicated it is, but because of the soul and how it makes you feel. Like, this makes you feel something. If you go to my YouTube right now, on the YouTube channel or my Twitter profile, and this image I've got of this mock-up, you get a different feeling. And if I can make you feel cool or whatever feeling it is, there's a visual impression this website has to leave, and that comes through in all the text and everything. If I can give you a cool impression, it's gonna make people more likely to be interested in, like, the game itself, I think. And it's a filter they pass through. You know, I can easily imagine, because this is how I noticed this with box covers at physical stores, because I don't look at Steam that much. When I want to buy a new movie, I go to a used DVD store and I look at the covers. The covers is like the equivalent of the homepage. The digital version is the homepage. The physical equivalent is the front cover. And what I've noticed for me is that I will actually straight up buy something if the cover is that good. If it impresses me, and I've told this story before of that random anime I found, like, that got me to buy it. And I want to give you that same experience, because it'd be so cool, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be awesome? And you don't get that kind of thing, I've noticed, with, like, I don't know, like, maybe you can do that with TikTok or whatever, but I want to do it this way. And when you get to design a website, instead of just be a renter on YouTube, you could say, or a resident of YouTube, you get so much. I can control your impressions so much more, because I can decide all of what you see. I don't just exist in a little box where there's, like, a bunch of stuff on the page I didn't put there. You know, I can put whatever I want here, and I think that's cool. So I don't know. Well, I'm curious though with the side bits here, because I'm trying to think of a way to make this look cooler, these side bits. I don't know. I'm not entirely certain about the chrome metal. You guys tell me if you think that looks cool, or if you might want some kind of like cooler thing. Because if you have any inspiration too, if you found any cool sites, let me know. Because I'm curious to see if I could find the coolest styling possible I could put on this. Because now I know the layout. I know how I want it laid out. I know I want navigation here, and I want a list of recent posts here, and maybe something for like tags or something. I know how I want it laid out. It's just the styling that I want to work out next, and then I can start building the thing. Lucas says fonts matter for game design, like the entire HUD and UI. Yeah, precisely, right? You know what's also this I have to do a video on this at some point. I keep bringing it back to this book with the grids, but like the mark of an indie game, a game that looks indie, I've noticed. I don't know if you've noticed this as well, but so many games I see have no concept of margins. And it annoys me so much, right? I'll see on Steam or whatever, I'm looking at it, and the art direction is terrible or whatever. And then I look, and like the UI is at the very edge of the screen. And it's like, dude, margins, okay? It can't be at the edge of the screen. Like, you guys have probably seen this. Maybe none of you have noticed, but you see this all the time, dude. I see this all the time, and it just... But you'll see, like, they'll have the... Imagine, just pretend for a second this is the UI, okay? And I'm gonna turn off the logo. Just pretend this is the UI, and this is what I see people do, and it's so annoying. And they put, like, the health meter, they put it way at the edge. And it's like, no, dude, like, no, no. Margins, okay? It looks like the HUD is going to fall off the screen if you put it on the edge like that. It makes me uncomfortable. Got to do a nice margin like that, okay? It feels like it's not going to fall off and run off the side of the screen. You put it there. And if you go back and look at, like, PS2 games, PS3 games compared to now, you'll notice that all the PS2 and PS3 games have 10% margins on the HUD. And they usually have thicker margins than games now because the screens were lower res. So any PS2 game is going to have heavy margins and the UI elements are going to be huge. And the newer games, like Ghost of Tsushima or whatever, they'll make the HUD really small and they'll put it all the way in the corner without any margins on them. And it just, I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. I liked how they were in the PS3 era where the HUD elements were like comfortably sized. I didn't have to squint to look at the writing on it. And the margins were comfortable, right? They were set nicely. They weren't running off the edge of the screen. And I don't know, like this seems like a small thing, but it leaves an impression, and I know for me, whenever I see a game that doesn't have margins, I ignore it, and I don't buy it, okay? And you should as well. You got to have higher standards. And maybe I'm the only one that cares, but it's not an accident that every PS2 game had margins on the HUD, okay? That's not an accident. It's just so well designed that you don't notice that there are margins. That's why it's cool. But when you don't notice it, you have HUD going off the screen or whatever, and it looks amateur, and it's... yeah. So all the rules, like, it applies to web design, it applies to UI, it applies to everything. So even if you don't see this stuff as important, you think making a website is a waste of time, you could apply the same principles to, like, HUD and menus, which the player will definitely notice those. If those are not designed well, the players will notice, they won't know how to explain it, but it'll feel cheap. And you're missing an opportunity to make them enthusiastic. You know, whenever you see a good HUD or a good menu, like Osu, I don't play Osu, but the menus are so cool. And it's like, I actually downloaded the game just to look at the menus. I didn't even want to play the game. I just want to look at the menus because it was so awesome. And it's like, oh my God. And it's like, if you decide this stuff's not important, you're missing an opportunity to delight your players. Because I don't know how good a job I can do, because I know Unreal Slate, they have limitations. I don't know how to code UI that well, but I would like to at least have the layout be decent, even if it's not animated or whatever. Even if just the layout is comfortable, easy on the eyes, typeset correctly, so that you aren't disgusted. That's the thing. And that's, like, I want you to not notice that it's good. That's the... I feel like that's what a goal of a good designer should be. And this applies to everything. It isn't just websites, menus. It applies to everything. So yeah. K1 says, I mean, that's true. When I'm looking at a car, I'm not looking up the stats. I'm looking more at how the car looks. Yeah, isn't that interesting? And you'll notice a lot of... I saw a game yesterday, right? It was some indie game that had made... It was like $20. And I was looking at... It didn't look like it had sold that well. And I couldn't explain it. But then I started looking at the page. And I noticed that the trailer... Firstly, the visuals looked ugly. And secondly, the gameplay and trailer, it was all stats, right? It was like 50 levels, 4-player co-op, roguelike, whatever. And it's like, to me, none of that means anything because I can list 100 other games that share the exact same features. Like when I say those things, you probably don't even know what game I'm talking about because there's probably 10 games that are coming to your mind right now, right? That's a problem. And they've done like this slick YouTube tutorial looking art style with like glowing edges and stuff. And it doesn't look impressive. And that's probably why it only sold like 1,000 copies. Like that's the difference. And it's just like, because I don't know. I just see it and people will then get demoralized and they think, oh, you know, indie dev is so cutthroat or whatever. And it's like, no, it's just... You could have tried harder to make this more impressive if you knew the rules. And the rules are not trying to tell me how many levels you have or how many 4-player co-op. Like, those are all, like, the equivalent of, like, what you've just said. You know, it's like when you look at a car and it's like, we have a 6-horsepower engine. Like, no one cares, okay? Like, people think they care about it, but... No, like, no one really does, do they? They're looking at, well, this car has a really sick blue stripe. And I like blue stripes. It could be the whatever reason, okay? That's probably going to leave it's going to influence you more than how many horsepower, how many cylinders, how many levels your game, whatever. Like, it's feature impression. Yeah. I'm glad I'm not the only one that notices that. But yeah, font to video. Yeah, one day, okay? Look, I got a few... Once I get off stream, I'm going to be going back to editing. I have this video I'm working on, and maybe, I don't know, when I really want to get caught up on the devlogs, though. And then maybe I'll get time to make videos about fonts. Maybe I'll make a video on the website itself. That would be actually really fun, because, you know, I don't know, this stuff is all... I think this is all really interesting. The YouTube algorithm might not think so, but I honestly don't care at this point. I think it's so cool. And I don't know, so I'm trying to I'm just trying to get through that. So I just want to thank everyone that's been waiting so patiently for the videos. I am working on this one is currently 25 minutes, and this stuff I'm thinking of cutting out. So it might even be a 20-minute one, or a 10-minute one, actually. So I'm going to be working on this afternoon, and maybe hopefully in the next few days, that'll be ready and up for you guys to enjoy. This devlog is probably going to take a little longer, though, and I'm only going to be working on, like... I'm not going to be working on the level until this is done, so I should be making some faster progress. But yeah, I really can't wait till this is finished, because then I got to make the video on my systems, on because that last devlog I made with the contractor and stuff, like that was like almost 2 years ago. Like there's so much stuff I've done since then that you don't know. Like I've done a bunch of coding stuff. I've coded like an entire mission system in the game that I've not told people about, and I really want to get through all of that so that I can get to now and make videos about now. So I'm working on it. Okay, so I appreciate everyone's patience. I appreciate a lot. I really do, and I appreciate the supporters, members, patrons for helping sustain the channel so I can keep working on some good videos for you. And I appreciate you those coming for the streams as well. It's nice to be able to it's nice to be able to share it casually like this every week or so. So, so I guess in short, scam situation game, we're working on that. I've been able to take down a few of those sites. If any of you find more of that stuff, please let me know. I do have, I don't have Discord DMs open, but if you find something, if you go to my personal website, which I probably will need to redesign at some point as well. I do have a website that I just made in Wix that has a contact form on it. and you can write to me here if you find any more Turkish scammers ripping off Project Feline, because that's no good. If you find it, thanks to those who did do that, by the way, because I would have not known about it otherwise. For some reason, YouTube is not letting me send messages. For some reason, I think my chat window's frozen. I'm trying to post the link here, but I don't know. It's if you go to my channel and go about, you'll see the link there. For whatever reason, my YouTube chat's crashed. So yeah. But yeah, guys, I gotta get going though. I gotta get back to making content, doing the stuff. So yeah, those are all my thoughts on like web design and all this stuff. I know this might sound like crazy, but I think it's important. If hopefully when I get my website, I don't know how long it'll take. I'm not a web dev. When that's done, maybe I make a post about that and we could talk about it on the website. That'd be really cool, honestly. So that's something to look forward to as well. Until then though, I'm gonna get back to it, and hopefully by next week I'll have some cool stuff to show. And yeah, appreciate you being here. I'll see you next week for some more more adventures, we'll say. So anyway, guys, I'll see you then.